During a major disaster, staying informed is crucial. Sign up for the San Bernardino County Telephone Emergency Notification System, TENS, to receive emergency alerts for your area. TENS alerts are sent via phone and text, providing you with critical updates such as evacuation warnings and orders. Simply register with a valid San Bernardino County address. Don't wait until it's too late. Register now at oes.sbcounty.gov. Connect.
It's an honor to be here today to celebrate the groundbreaking.
We listen to our residents. Our residents say, why is this not finished? And it's important that we address those issues.
This is a brand new 4-lane bridge that crosses the Cajon Wash, and it connects to the former bridge that was already here. This is going to create a great new traffic flow, traffic pattern for all the residents in this area.
It's being built with local lifestyle in mind, including multi-use pathways that are horse trail friendly and designated bike lanes and sidewalks.
This $52.2 million funded project is a collaborative effort with our federal partners, our regional transportation partners, and then there's a county match involved, and County Public Works will see this through to fruition.
We're going to be working with the county closely and making sure that we are here to provide all the assistance to make sure the project is delivered.
I will thank in advance our residents for their patience as we start construction. There will be inconveniences, but we will do our best to minimize those. We will always have access through this area.
This is an investment for the community. This is making sure that they have better transit. And we look at our police and fire are going to have better access routes. People could come to our regional parks and see the great things that we're doing, the great investments. That means more people come into the county of San Bernardino to enjoy the beautiful amenities that we have here.
I am so excited that people are going to find it easier to get in and out of Glen Helen Regional Park, whether they're coming here for just a day at the swim facility, a picnic with friends, or if they're coming here for a large concert.
For the next 2 years, we will be working very hard to complete this project so we can have this improved, safer road for all of the community.
San Bernardino County constituents have been saying for over the years they need help with having affordable vaccines provided for them, as well as spays and neuters. Our Animal Cares Mobile Services does provide services such as vaccines, microchipping. We also have our licensing department here with us.
San Bernardino County is huge, so having a mobile unit lets us get out and give services to every corner of our county.
This mobile unit will be operating here at the shelter for the shelter pets before they're adopted, as well as into the community of the unincorporated areas of San Bernardino.
Honestly, it is very convenient. The wait time is very helpful, like it's fast.
It's been terrific, yeah. It's very smooth, organized, so far seamless, yeah.
I think the county should provide more services to the people that live here. It's very helpful for those who can't really afford it.
You can get basically all the services you need, you can get connected to here. We have lists for low-cost clinics, for follow-up care. We can get you basically started on the right track with your animal.
We have had a lot of positive feedback. You can see it in their eyes as well as their animals, that they're very happy that they're able to come in their own neighborhood and get these services provided for them.
For services for this mobile unit, please just make sure that you check out our social media for San Bernardino Animal Care as well as our website. It's a great opportunity for us to be able to provide this for our constituents, and we're super happy to get this started, and it's been a long time coming.
The San Bernardino County Fire Hazard Abatement Program is administered by code enforcement under the authority of County Fire. We proactively identify fire hazards throughout all regions of the county to create defensible space for first responders and to help reduce the effect of wildfires.
It's important that county residents are aware of the Fire Hazard Abatement Program and understand that proactive measures are necessary to protect your home and your neighbors and your community.
We conduct seasonal inspections looking for various fire hazards, hoping to improve defensible space to protect first responders and provide overall safety of the community.
Residents can minimize hazards on their property by taking home hardening techniques, creating defensible space, and reducing hazardous fuels around their home. Doing self-inspections of their properties, ensuring that there's no flammable debris or combustibles that need to be removed further away from your residence, and or maintaining the vegetation that grows on your property.
Community safety starts with all of us. When property owners do their part to maintain their properties, it strengthens our collective ability to protect families, neighborhoods, and first responders from the effects of wildfire.
The Explore program is a program that we hire kids from ages 14 to 20 and a half, and we teach them about the fundamentals of being a deputy sheriff or a law enforcement officer. And also when they age out at 20 and a half, we help them get hired if they desire a career in law enforcement.
It's a great way for any teenager interested out there that wants to pursue a career here in law enforcement. I've recently seen that the program has been helping a lot of kids with ride-alongs and just seeing what they actually do. It's a great way for any teenagers out there to see what a deputy does throughout their day of work. And if you're interested, I feel like this is a great way to start joining the program.
I heard about the Explorer program through my best friend, Gabby. We were in high school at the time, and she invited me to come do a scenario with the Explorers. I came, did a scenario, absolutely loved it, ended up joining the post.
I really enjoy the ride-alongs. Those are probably my favorite thing to do, but competitions are also very cool. I get to bond with my team and my advisors. We all kind of push each other to our limits during competition.
I've been an advisor for about 6 months now. I've been to one Explorer competition, and I've been to dozens of trainings with the Explorers themselves, taking them out for ride-alongs, and seeing them develop from when I first contacted them to now has been really cool to see. Just how they've changed and how they speak to people, how they speak to the public, how they carry themselves at volunteer events. Just in 6 months has been really outstanding.
So I became an Explore advisor because I had a teacher in high school. She looked out for me very well, and she took me under her wing and made sure that I was okay and kind of guided me on the right path. So I remember what it was like to be that kid that needed some guidance. So this is my way of giving back for that teacher that helped me on the right path.
I'm interested in a career in law enforcement because of this program and the things that I've learned from it.
I am interested in a career in law enforcement, honestly because of the program. I don't think that I would have decided to go into law enforcement if I hadn't joined. This has been a great way to show me what's out there. I get to meet new people. I get to learn about the career. I get to go on ride-alongs and experience a shift with the deputy. I have a lot of fun doing this.
The Spark program is a program that was designed with the mindset of giving gainful employment to community youth and foster youth across this county.
It's also providing an incredible opportunity for so many young adults to learn about what public service is, to learn about different occupations and career pathways. They're being paired up with mentors and coaches.
We had approximately 1,200 youth apply for the opportunity to be part of the Spark program. Out of that, 131 were selected. There were 84 community youth and 47 foster youth. When the interns initially applied for the position themselves, they listed interests. The team who reviewed those applications did align the type of work they were going to be doing with the type of careers they'd like to pursue in the future.
I applied for the program because I thought it'd be a great opportunity to gain hands-on experience, have my actual first job, and just learn about my local government. I'm assigned to the Office of Emergency Services. I've gotten to see how creative and innovative this department is, and I feel like it's just shown how public service can be dynamic and forward-thinking.
There's teams behind every program that happens. There's approvals that have to get done, a lot more budgeting than I first realized. People who work in public service, they care about the public. So it's cool figuring that out.
I've learned about how to be professional in a workplace environment. It'll definitely be a resume builder. I can see myself working in this field in the future.
From the workforce development standpoint, it allows us to have a talent pipeline for the future. And then on the other side of the coin is it allows a pipeline for our foster youth to explore opportunities that may even redirect the course of their life and put them on a trajectory that gives them stability and a long-term income.
Our job is to help them transition out of foster care. And so this just helps give them that little confidence boost and connect them with certain people that might be able to mentor them.
The department I'm assigned to is transportation planning. Career-wise, it gave me experience with different types of engineers. I've learned how to use the Excel program, and later on I'm going to be learning how to use GIS, which is a mapping program.
Currently, I am assigned to communications. Most days I've been here, we went out to a location, set up the cameras to interview people. I'm gaining a lot of technical skills, so I do believe those will definitely help me with my artistic interests.
The county is providing workshops, professional development opportunities, to provide these young adults with real-world experience to help them develop and grow their skills to be better employees.
We did a lot of things to try and engage our Spark youth in things that we thought were fundamental.
You felt pretty comfortable with that budget.
So we did things like financial literacy training. There was a food handler's permit class. You know, any youth from the age range of 16 to 18 to 21, actually, those are times where you're trying to figure out what you want to do with your future.
Participants completed an impressive 21,912 hours of real work experience. We're here to celebrate
within the county to actually do real jobs that make real impacts to the community at large. We wanted to invest in them, and hence, they will
So this is Pacific Village Phase 2. It is an expansion of Phase 1. It will provide stable housing, access to treatment and coordinated care here on this campus. It will help those that are seeking reprieve from homelessness or unhousing situations to come and have a place to get treatment on a coordinated campus.
This is a powerful investment here. It's going to bring dignified spaces, and it's going to feel like a home. It's not just something, you're a pop-up tent that they're living there. It's going to feel like a home. It's going to make them feel warm and make them hopefully want to transform their lives and get back to integrating into society.
Pacific Village reflects the shared commitment for our local, state, and federal partners in making sure that this funding was a reality. In this project, I want to give a lot of special thanks to San Bernardino County because of their commitment to investing in people and building a community where no one is left behind.
This represents 32 substance use disorder beds, 32 recuperative care beds, as well as 70 permanent supportive housing units. This will provide opportunity for treatment for so many, as well as those who are suffering with medical or behavioral health issues.
It isn't just one type of housing. It's permanent supportive housing, it's recuperative care, it's emergency shelter, it's also an integrated substance use treatment, all for our unhoused population.
The strategic placement of these facilities within this larger campus creates a unique, integrated model that supports substance use treatment interventions among San Bernardino County Medi-Cal eligible residents, prioritizing pregnant women, the unhoused, and other high-risk population.
We are not just building infrastructure, we're also building a continuum of care on this campus, which will consist of comprehensive, robust services that we will provide to our residents of this county.
By working with our county partners and continuum of care to meet housing-related metrics, IHP secured $3.5 million to help fund the Pacific Village project.
Increasing access to care in our communities, it's central to the mission of the Community Care Expansion Program. Our awardees are meeting our target populations where they are in their communities, where they have their support systems, their families, and where they know the communities the best. We're proud to be part of this project and the story as you move this project forward.
Pacific Village Phase 2 integrates the overlapping interests of no less than 3 departments, 3 to 5 or more decision makers, and their respective leadership teams. With the collaboration, we have been able to find the right balance between privacy and community, safety without solitude, and delivering first-class healing services.
This is a perfect example of how a community comes together, taps into several different resources. Every one of you here today, I know, has a part in this because you are standing here collectively as a community. And when you come as a community, we make community better for all.
This project is designed not only to provide safe and stable housing, but also to offer critical services. Homelessness is not just a housing crisis. It's a crisis that affects people's health and their families and their ability to thrive. Pacific Village will provide a permanent solution, moving people off the streets and into homes with resources that they need to succeed. By integrating housing and services, Pacific Village follows a proven model that empowers individuals and families to rebuild their lives and achieve long-term stability.
CERT is a community emergency response team, and it's one of our volunteer programs that we have here with the county. The CERT program is overseen by the Office of Emergency Services in partnership and support with our county volunteers and cities and towns.
Rialto Unified School District Teen CERT program, we incorporate it into the curriculum.
They learn how to do emergency medical training, first aid, how to shut off natural gas, how to shut off electricity, how to do firefighting for small fires, how to secure a scene, and help others.
We train all the surrounding cities because not all CERT programs have the classes year-round, so they go wherever. We've got Rancho, we've got people from Chino, Claremont that come out, take the classes.
If there's a team in, say, Wrightwood, and their hazard is dealing with wildfires, we build exercises to train that team so when that actually occurs in real life, they're ready to respond accordingly, as well as us being ready to work with them to make sure that we're keeping the community safe.
Right now we were doing all the CTE classes, which is basically the hands-on, the law enforcement classes, the medical classes, and we are also now enrolling it into the ROTC. And we're collaborating now with the county and bringing them on, which is just gonna, fortify our training. It's gonna give us more resources and more trainers, and it's just gonna build a stronger foundation for us.
As we are building up our teams, we want to keep our team engaged because thankfully we don't have disasters every day. So with that, we have exercises coming up, we have trainings, so that way you can practice the skills that you've learned in the basic trainings and some of the other trainings that we hold throughout the year. So we have a lot of fun, exciting things coming up planned for 2026, and we encourage everybody to be a volunteer and support the county.
Join not only for yourself, but also for your family.
The county has established Office of Homeless Services to try and create a collaborative response to homelessness. So the HOPE team was started about a decade ago, originally comprised with, I believe, 2 deputy sheriffs, and their primary function was to combat homelessness through stability through housing. And they were very successful in the beginning, but one of the things that we've noticed over the last several years is that a large number of the homeless community is either suffering from mental health illness or substance abuse, or suffering from both because they're trying to self-medicate.
I had been homeless for 10 years. I like to call it a 10-year camping trip, right? It wasn't fun. How did I get there? Drugs and alcohol. You know, I had been able to control and enjoy them for many years, and I didn't realize that I was slowly spiraling down a tube. You know, I didn't know what I know today about the disease of alcoholism and addiction.
When we initially met him, was kind of what society says would be like a stereotypical hobo, long hair, you know, things like that, living on the river. Well, this gentleman was clean cut, and he came over and he said, "Hey, I don't know if you guys remember me." And we said, "Yeah, you're Kevin." And he apologized for not being real honest about his drug use and things like that. And he said, "But you guys told me to come back when I'm ready for help, and I'm here because I want help."
I always saw like the police were my enemy. You know, they were against me, right? Because I want to do my drugs and I want to do my crime, and why don't they just leave me alone, right? So, you know, that changed, you know, that thinking changed, you know, and Mike Jones and his team had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I think Kevin's story is one of thousands of stories that, you know, the county through Office of Homeless Services and all the various programs that focus on homelessness, there's people every day that exit homelessness, and one is not giving up. And in Kevin's story, he didn't give up.
I have a decent life. I have a beautiful little 7-year-old daughter, and I'm a truck driver, and I'm a part-time DJ. You know, I like that. I like music. I have a bunch of friends. I go to lots of meetings, right? That's my life today, is recovery and family, you know, and I'm blessed for it. Thank you. The Hope team especially, yes, thank you.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to acknowledge the High Desert and Joshua Tree video conference sites. I want to thank you all for joining us today. Chair Rao is not with us today because she has jury duty, so I will be chairing her place. And we'll start with the pledge and invocation. This morning, I'd like to introduce from the 5th District, Pastor Edward Barraza from the Uprising Church. Pastor Edward Barraza has been a proud resident of Rialto, California since 1995. He began pastoring a new ministry, Fountain of Life, in Upland in 2013. In 2019, he felt to call bring the work closer to home, relaunching the Uprising Church in Rialto, which he has his mass at Rialto High School. During the pandemic, Pastor Barraza continued to faithfully serve his community, holding services in his homes, at Rialto City Park, and online. Today, Uprising Church's messages reach viewers around the world, and for the past years, the church has been at Rialto High School. Pastor Barraza is honored to serve as senior pastor and minister. He calls the city home for 3 decades. Thank you, Pastor Barraza.
Amen. I want to thank you all for the opportunity to acknowledge and welcome our Lord Jesus Christ into our meeting today. Amen. Join us in prayer. Lord Jesus, we just gather here today, and we're just so thankful for this last monthly meeting of the year. We thank you for being our helper throughout the year, and we're grateful for our communities, leaders, staff, volunteers, and residents who have labored for the common good. Please continue to impart wisdom and patience and unity as we close the books on 2025 and move forward into 2026. Bless those we serve, protect our community, and guide every proposition, vote, and decisions that are made throughout the years. May this season inspire compassion, generosity, and renewed purpose for our families and our neighbors. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Barraza, for the invocation. Next, we'll go to Memorial Adjournment. Supervisor Cook. No. Okay, Supervisor Armendariz.
Yes, I'd like to take a moment to reflect for our retired sergeant in San Bernardino County Sheriff, Eno Lassiter. He passed away on November 25th after an unforeseen battle with cancer. Joined the Sheriff's Department in 1992. He worked at Glen Helen Rehabilitation Center, West Valley Detention Center, Rancho Cucamonga Station, as well as the gang and narcotics team. He promoted to detective in 2008, where he worked in the enforcement division and employee resources. Promoted to sergeant in 2013, he dedicated 30 years of his life to the Sheriff's Department. He's survived by his wife and his 3 children, and we are going to keep him in our prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Amar. Supervisor Hagman. Okay, I have none. Now we'll go to special presentations, resolutions, and proclamations. If we could have my colleagues join us in the well. Okay, for our first special presentation, we have Maria Mesa. It's my honor to present this resolution in honor of Maria Mesa, who is retiring after 33 years of service to the county. Maria has held various positions across the county departments, including the Transitional Assistance Department, former Jobs and Employment Services Department, Human Services, Public Health, and finally she is with the CAO's office. She has been such an asset to the team, and we appreciate everything she has done to the county. Let's congratulate Maria. Thank you for your service, Maria.
Thank you very much. 33 years flew by. It was like a blink of an eye. I'm very happy to be where I am, and I'm very grateful to all the people here who have made this possible for me. If possible, I'd like to bring some people up for a picture. My family. ¿Pueden venir? And then after that, if possible, my colleagues that have worked with me, I'd really appreciate if you come up and take a picture with me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't be afraid of me.
Yeah, we got room. We got room.
All right.
Colleagues?
Yes, my colleagues.
If we could bring her colleagues down. Come on down for another photo. Yeah, please. And just to give the community an idea, Maria does a tremendous job when we do our agenda review. So everything that goes on the agenda, she does a tremendous job making sure that everything's thorough and answers questions to the chair and vice chair and the CEO. So she does a tremendous job. That's okay. That's okay. You're good. You're good. Squeeze in there. Thank you. Congratulations, Maria. Thank you for your service to the county. For our next special presentation, we have Deborah Dickerson Sims. I would like to present this resolution in honor of Deborah Dickerson Sims, who is retiring after 24 years with the County of San Bernardino. Deborah began her career in 2001, advancing through multiple departments where she provided fiscal guidance and professional support. In 2008, she became the Chief Financial Officer for the San Bernardino County First Five, overseeing a $40 million annual budget. Thank you for your leadership, and we hope you have a wonderful retirement. And just personally speaking, as a First Five commissioner, she's done a tremendous job watching over the dollars and making sure they do great investments. So on behalf of the County Board of Supervisors, let's congratulate Deborah Dickerson Sims. Congratulations. Okay, we could have her work family come down for a photo. First Five family, please come down. Thank you. And Deborah, would you like to say a few words to the community?
Well, I want to say that I got to admit that when I first started with the county, I said I was going to do 5 years and go back to the private industry. And here I am 24 years later. And I got to say I enjoyed the journey. And I want to thank all of you that I've worked with over the years. I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. And I want to thank you.
All right. Congratulations. One last round of applause for Deborah. Thank you so much for your service. And our last special presentation is for John Johnston Jr. I would like to present this resolution in honor of John Johnson Jr., who has dedicated 21 years to the County of San Bernardino. John has served under 4 different elected officials, sits on various boards and commissions, and is an expert in treasurer investment policies. In his most recent role as Assistant Auditor Controller, Tax Collector, he has overseen the management of the county's $15 billion budget. And the highest attainable rating assigned for an investment pool of this type. We thank you for your invaluable contributions to the county and want to wish you a happy retirement. Congratulations.
A round of applause for John Johnson Jr. My wife and
Yes, family can come down for a photo. Come on down. Family and county family, please come down.
Sure, please.
Come on up, Luther.
Thank you.
It's always been JJ, now it's Triple J. John Johnson Jr.
That's right.
Okay.
All right.
Come on in, come on in. Come on down, come on down. Got plenty of room. Squeeze in there.
All right.
I'd like to say a few words.
Sure, thank you. As some of you who know me, it's difficult for me to say a few words, but I'll give it a try. First of all, thanks some folks. First of all, I'd like to thank God Almighty for his blessings that he's given me here at the county. I want to thank my wife and my family for supporting me in my career in all these years, especially those years where I was on the trading desk at dark 30 every morning on behalf of the county. I'd like to thank the board for this honor, and I'd like to thank you for appointing me to the Board of Retirement for an additional term. Thank you. I want to thank my good friend, Ensign Mason. I want to thank you for your vision. I want to thank you for your friendship and entrusting me as your assistant. I want to thank some folks that I've worked with for many years, my colleagues at ATC, our folks at the Treasury, and all the other divisions. And all the folks out there in department land. I get credit for a number of accomplishments, but none of which I've done on my own. It's always been in collaboration and working with some great individuals. And that's the one thing I'm going to miss the very, very most is working with all of you. And so it's kind of bittersweet. I am going to enjoy my retirement. I can already see that I can volunteer myself into a full-time job and then some. But it's been a great ride, and I've been honored to be an employee here at San Bernardino County. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Congratulations.
Okay, so all right.
Just thanks again for our employees for their many, many years of service, so we appreciate that. Okay, now we have a special presentation regarding the history of Measure I. So I'd like to ask Otis Greer with the San Bernardino County Transit Authority to please come down to the dais to present. Welcome, Otis.
Good morning. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today. My name is Otis Greer. I serve as the Deputy Executive Director for Strategic Partnerships at the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority. And joining me today are my SBCTA colleagues, Carrie Schindler, our Executive Director, and Molly Wiltshire, our Director of Legislative and Public Affairs. I'd like to thank you all for an opportunity to briefly share with you an overview of Measure I and its contributions to transportation infrastructure across San Bernardino County, and to also invite some comments back and feedback from the countywide community on the future of transportation investments. For a bit of background, our agency began as a transportation, or as a, oh, I didn't do that. We'll go back. All right, sorry about that. For a bit of background, our agency began as the San Bernardino Associated Governments, established in 1973 as a cooperative regional planning agency. It helped with big picture planning for the cities and supervisorial districts in the county. As a result of that thinking, transportation became a very important thread that was thought through the agency, and transportation functions began to be layered on top of the agency. In 2016, transportation-related functions, the Transportation Commission, the Freeway Emergency Services Program, Transportation Authority, and Congestion Management were consolidated into a single entity known as SBCTA. The functions for the Cooperative Regional Planning continue through the Council of Governments function known as SBCOG. Among those core responsibilities for SBCTA is the administration of our Measure I funds, which are critical to transportation infrastructure in the county. I'd like to share a brief video to highlight some of the benefits of Measure I in our county. As the video highlights the important role that transportation plays in our daily lives, Measure I is a critical part of the development of those transportation assets here in San Bernardino County. But what is it? Measure I is a half-cent sales tax dedicated to transportation funding here in San Bernardino County. It was first approved by the voters in 1989 and overwhelmingly renewed in 2004. What's most significant about these funds is that it not only covers local project priorities, but it's also used as a significant tool in leveraging state and federal funds, as the next slide will highlight. Since 2010, Measure I has generated more than $2.5 billion in transportation investments across San Bernardino County. Of that, more than $700 million has gone directly to local streets, roads, including sidewalks, pothole repairs, traffic signals, safety improvements throughout the county. When combined with state and federal funding, Measure I has helped deliver nearly $2.9 billion in regional transportation projects and has supported the creation of more than 32,000 jobs. These figures do not fully capture Measure I's ongoing support of our public transit partners at Metrolink, Omnitrans, and other operators, as well as our senior, disabled, and other specialized transit services. Measure I has contributed to a wide range of significant transportation improvements, including projects such as State Route 210 extension, Interstate 215, expansion of Metrolink service to downtown San Bernardino, and to Redlands via the Aero service, as well as many other highway, rail, and street programs. The next several slides, oh, went one too far, huh? Yeah. Something's not right with the, my deck's not advancing, so I apologize. Several slides that were to show some of, highlight some of the special projects in each of the.
Excuse me, Otis, if I could please have people mute their cell phones
to minimize disruption? Thank you. Sorry, Otis.
No, no problem. Just to highlight a few of the projects in each of the respective district. In District 1, Interstate 15, La Mesa Nisqually Road, as well as Green Tree Road. In District 2, interchanges such as Sierra and Duncan Canyon. In District 3, Interstate 215, Barton Road, Grand Terrace, as well as the recently opened truck climbing lanes in Yucaipa. In District 4, State Route 60 in Chino, as well as Interstate 10 interchange at Euclid. And in District 5, one of the bigger accomplishments this year was the Mount Vernon Bridge, which was just so well received by the public during its opening date. A key component of Measure I is a strong set of taxpayer protections. As an independent taxpayer oversight committee that provides citizens review oversight to ensure that the funds are spent as intended, administrative costs are capped at no more than 1%, and we ensure that private developments put skin in the game when it comes to transportation investment. Measure I is also a regionally allocated fund on a return-to-source basis, and these safeguards, combined with the diligent board oversight, help ensure that local taxpayer dollars are protected and used consistently with voter intent. As we look toward the future, we want to better understand the evolving transportation needs of our residents and ensure that the priorities of you and your constituents are met. And so we encourage residents throughout the county to share their perspective by going to sbcta.com/Measure I and share your thoughts and your feedback. And finally, I wanted to share a bit of good news related to Measure I. We are pleased to partner with the Economic Development Partner on a celebration of the upcoming Route 66 Centennial, an exciting opportunity to connect transportation investment, economic development with our shared regional history with the Mother Road. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you to, first and foremost, to the board for their support, as well as to county staff for all that they've done. That concludes our presentation. I'm happy to take any questions if you like.
Thank you, Otis, for that presentation from SBCTA on Measure I. Any board member comments? Okay, see none. Otis, we want to thank SBCTA for the great work they do. And just to point out to the public, it's really these regional projects, regional transportation projects in partnership with the county of San Bernardino, many of our cities. So thank you for the great work you're doing at SBCTA.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, next on the agenda, thank you. Give them a round of applause. Great work. Okay, next on the agenda will be reports from County Council and the CEO. We'll move to reports from County Council. Laura.
Thank you, Vice Chair. The board met in closed session today and voted 5-0 to reject the claim filed by Kathy Madison. The Board of Supervisors, also sitting as the Board of Directors for the San Bernardino County Fire Protection District, voted 5-0 to authorize continued intervention in the matter of the Anthony Petta and Angeline Petta Family Trust dated May 10, 2012, as amended December 2nd, 2024, and filed in the San Bernardino County Court as case number TRUVA 2500084. That's all I have.
Thank you, Laura. That comes to Luther. Any reports from our CEO, Luther?
Good morning, Vice Chair. Nothing to report this morning.
Okay, thank you, Luther. This goes to individual board comments. Supervisor Cook.
I have nothing this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Supervisor Armendariz.
Yes, thank you. Had a busy month. We actually were Grand Marshals for the City of Fontana's Christmas Parade. I want to thank the City of Fontana for allowing me to take part in that and just make me Grand Marshal. It was very nice of them. We also did a podcast with Otis Gear and Tim from SBCTA. We did our pop-up hours in Upland. We also partnered with Thunder Lightning Peace and did a Blankets for Vets drive. We also attended SEBA's 25th annual Shop with the Cop in Rancho Cucamonga. I want to thank Chairman Baca for attending that with me. We also participated in Angeles Especiales Christmas celebration. It's a nonprofit that focuses on children with special needs. We also were at the City of Upland's hometown holiday parade. We were at the 2025 Christmas tree lighting and dinner gala in downtown San Bernardino. We also had the Sheriff's Holiday Open House. We attended the Fontana tree lighting ceremony, the Aqua Conference, and also we did a turkey drive where we we're able to feed 2,500 families in the 2nd District. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Supervisor Armendariz. Supervisor Hagman.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I just want to announce, so for everyone to plan their holidays next year, we are going to start at Ontario Airport. Southwest is going to fly to Honolulu starting June 2026. So please check out all the new flights we're having from the city or the Ontario International Airport. And GoCal announces launch of new Great Ontario Area Transportation, or GOAT system. That seems like a weird acronym. But this will be a new electric and hybrid shuttle service that will work on an app to connect Ontario International Airport with hotels and major destinations across the region. And that begins January 2026 as well. That will replace many of the existing hotel shuttles with cleaner fleets. ARMC was just awarded the 2025 Quality Leader Award for Population Health from California Association of Public Health Hospitals and Health Systems, CAP, and California Safety Net Institute. So congratulations, ARMC.
Yes.
And like others, we recently held our Christmas open house. We want to thank all those who were able to attend. We got it booked up for 300 people within a week, which was the greatest demand we ever had. So thank you all for coming to that. We also attended many of the local events and parades. And just want to say thank you for all the cities and the community for all the spirit that we get to be part of this time of year is wonderful. And then lastly, I spoke on behalf of the I-15 Coalition, which aims to study improvements on I-15 from Barstow to Nevada, which has one of the highest rates of serious and fatal crashes in California. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Hagman. And just want to say there's been a lot of holiday events that we've been able to attend our office. Just really want to thank the community in our county for really stepping up to help those in need. There's been a lot of generosity in our county, so just want to say thank you. And want to highlight some board agenda items. Item 22, this is a contract with Helping Hearts, which is our current facility in the unincorporated area of Muscoy. And this is going to be for enhanced adult residential treatment. This is going to help those that are a forensic population that discharge from the jail to make sure they get them the help they need. I want to highlight item 24. As a member of the Confire Board, this is a significant step. And this is a $2 million investment in the emergency communication nurse system. And basically what this will allow phone calls to be taken instead of actually sending out response via EMT responses. They'll be able to handle some of these calls via telephone, which will be cost savings to all of our residents. So it's a great program. I want to thank Behavioral Health for the investment. Item 36, it's a $3 million investment in the Pacific Village Campus Project. I want to thank the San Manuel Band of Mission Indians for their investment and their partnership on this project to make sure we continue to do every step we can to address homelessness. Item 37, which is on the border of San Bernardino and Rialto. It's a Fifth and Meridian project. This is a $3 million or $5 million investment of home art funds. It's a big project that will bring affordable housing to our community and continue to address 32 beds in this county. And also item 41, a waiver of animal care pet adoption fees. This is huge. So until June 30th, 2027, this will help our furry friends get adopted faster, receiving a cost barriers for families, because sometimes it's challenging for those that don't have the money to adopt pets. So this is a great program. I want to thank Public Health for that. And the other thing is discretionary money, $83,000 on item number 43, which is going to help our Colton Police Department purchase new motorcycle vehicles. And the last thing I want to highlight is just on the committees. I serve on the Omnitrans board. We've been able to install some bus shelters in the unincorporated area of Little Third on 3rd and Pedley, and this is a great investment. So I just want to thank all the good work that our staff has done, and want to take the time to acknowledge one of our groups that's in the audience. It's National Caregivers Month. So November is now here today that play a vital role in supporting our seniors and people with disabilities in our county. We'd like to thank you for your dedication and residence. And let's get up for SEIU 2015s in the audience. Thank you for the great work you do. Great work. You're a blessing to our county. Thank you so much. Thank you for the great work you do. Thank you for being here today. And finally, have a surprise presentation. Would like to take the opportunity to recognize our clerk, Linda Monell, who is an outgoing president of the California Clerk for the Board of Supervisors Association. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much. thank you for your dedication to your role, as you do for all of us on the board. And we really want to take this honor to give you a plaque. So if I could have my colleagues join us on the well for a photo with Lena.
Holy moly.
Next time, you want money or do you want the?
Thank you very much. I'm very taken aback, and I'm not often at a loss for words, but I am right now. Thank you for your support. Supervisor Armendariz, you were there when I was sworn in a year ago, so I really appreciate it. And the support you give me is amazing. That allows me to do other work outside of the county, so this was a wonderful surprise. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lena. And Lena does a great job to make sure that these meetings run smoothly. You make sure that we follow all protocols. So Lena's done a great job. One last round of applause. Lena, thank you so much. Thank you. Now it's back to you, Lena. Are there any additions or revisions to the agenda?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm at a loss for words still. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Yes, I have one change for today's agenda. The special presentation section in item number 2 is revised to remove the resolution for Diana Mota, which will be presented at a future date. Thank you. Those are all the changes I have.
Okay, thank you so much. Now we'll go to conflict of interest. Any board member has any conflict of interest to disclose regarding an item on the agenda, please do so now. Okay, Supervisor Hagman.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I have received a contribution over $500 to my campaign from the following folks and items. Item number 22, Dan Richards, Helping Hearts. Dan Richards Kendrew, Helping Hearts item. Item number 36, Yahweh Town of San Manuel Nation. And item number 11, Watson Land Company.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Hagman. Any others? Okay, see none. We'll go to the consent calendar, items 2 through 133, and we're going to call for public comment. And right now we have 5 speakers requested. I'll go ahead and start in the Joshua Tree site. If we could start with Seth Zacharias of Joshua Tree. Are we up?
Do we have the Joshua Tree site up? Oh, there we go. Okay.
Welcome, Seth. Please.
You want to talk on a specific, you can wait, you can tell a specific topic.
Seth, can you hear us?
I can. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. There's a bunch of chatter in the background, and I'm.
Ask if there will be discussion on that item.
Will there be discussion on the 131 item?
No, you're speaking on consent, so you're going to go ahead and speak on it now. So you have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Seth Zacharias, longtime Joshua Tree resident and business owner. I'm also the vice president for the newly forming Joshua Tree Association of Business and Culture, which is a 501c6 business league. I don't really have a lot of a comment, except I just want to be heard on last night. This item 131 dropped into my lap at about 8 p.m. and I'm so uneducated about it. And when I reached out to numerous downtown Joshua Tree business owners, which I'm very connected in, being a business owner here of 25 years, nobody was aware of the proposed $31 million of infrastructure improvement in Joshua Tree. And the tiny bit of research I was able to do in my very busy morning, a lot of it makes a lot of sense to me as far as stoplights and public parking and waste disposal and bathrooms and all those sorts of things. But there needs to be a serious opportunity for those of us that live in this environment and live in the flow of Joshua. My shop's right on Park Boulevard. Like, there's so many of us here that know the ins and outs of this community. And I'm just shocked that there's a $31 million agenda item that popped on my radar at 8 p.m. last night. And I already spoke with Glenn Harris this morning, our local representative, and asked for in the future to just have a little more of a heads up on topics like this. And then in regards to the proposed sewer project, there's nobody in the downtown existing business community who is advocating for that. And to me, this really sounds like an opportunity for box retail to to really set a footprint in downtown Joshua Tree. And Joshua Tree is primarily locally owned and operated, and I'm really proud of that. And we're a national park town, which is very, very different than most areas in the county. And frankly, we're a cash cow for tourism, for the economy and tax revenue and TOT and all that stuff. And I do not want our town to end up looking like every other town in America as just one giant strip mall. And I guess I'm just so unprepared right now, but I'm just unbelievably frustrated with the lack of transparency from the Board of Supervisors. Didn't communicate with anybody in the community of Joshua Tree before proposing $31 million in a sewer system. How does that even happen? And I want to work with you guys. Like, I'm a firm believer we catch more flies with honey. But to have this drop in my lap at 8 p.m. last night and then be expected to do research this morning, and I know there was a public announcement that was buried in like a 3,000 word email or document that the county sent out, but nobody caught that. It would have been so easy for the county to notify the community via social media or through the local reps, and it just wasn't done. And I'm really frustrated by that. And I love the idea of putting $31 million into our infrastructure because we really need it.
Thank you for your comments and concerns. That's time. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, next we'll go to Stacy Doolittle, who is also at the Joshua Tree site.
So thank you everyone for having us. And I agree with my friend Seth Zaharias that this has not been shared with the community. I wonder, when does the responsibility to interfacing with rural people ever happen? And I spoke to you all in spring 2024, and I said that it's on you to preserve the look and feel of our rural community and to not ruin Joshua Tree with developments like Lovemore. And now, a year and a half later, you all are installing sewers to support developments such as Lovemore and other inappropriate development projects. There is no support for low-income housing. This issue is not being considered cumulative. The cumulative impacts to our community for all of these developments and the cumulative impact for installing that sewer covering so much blank area that's obviously going to be filled with formula retail. We need a formula retail overlay ban so we can keep Joshua Tree looking like and feeling like a rural area and something different to go to for all of the 3 million visitors that come here from around the world. We don't need formula retail like KFCs and Jack in the Boxes. When does the community get to participate in serious discussions like this? I found out about all this from the feds. The county wouldn't share anything with me. I had to speak to Obernolte's office. Again, the county would not share anything with me. All they did was kind of intimidate me and shut me down. So the community is not being involved with this. And I just want to know, do you guys even care about the fact that you are not demonstrating the transparency that we expect of our county government? Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy, for your comments and concerns. That concludes our comments in Joshua Tree. And we have 3 requests to speak here. Jeff Green, then Andrew Romaine, and then Carla. Jeff Green? Jeff Green? Turn on the mic, please.
Okay.
The mic. There we go.
Am I good?
Yeah, we're good.
I'm Jeff Green. I am Associate Director of Inland Equity Community Land Trust, and we are the fiscal sponsor of the IE Tenant Union. And there are a group of renters that are living in a building run by Step Up, 2nd Street. and that building has gone into foreclosure because of the financial mismanagement of Shangri-La Industries. Shangri-La Industries CFO was arrested, and now suddenly 75 people in the city of San Bernardino are going to be made homeless, apparently, unless somebody steps in. Either the city of San Bernardino steps in and gets the building from the bank that inherited it, or the county of San Bernardino. There were millions of dollars invested in that building through Project Homekey and other affordable housing and supportive housing programs, and now a bank is going to wind up owning it, and they're trying to evict all of the people that have affordable covenants that are in that building, including the ones that are going to be evicted. They received a letter. Some of them are here to make public comment. I don't know how, I have a minute left. Okay, I'm going to go on and on. This is outrageous. The building was more than half paid for by taxpayer money. It's being operated by a very good nonprofit doing really good work, and it would be a shame for them to lose this facility. And it would be a shame for these people to be made homeless. And this is senior housing. This is exactly the kind of housing that we need all over in all the jurisdictions. Every city should be stepping up and building this type because poor people need a place to live. And it's a shame that the financial mismanagement of Shangri-La Industries CFO is going to cause 75 people to become homeless. And the county can stop this. The city of San Bernardino could stop this. You guys could work together. There's Beverly, Vermont Community Land Trust. It was created out of a certain situation very similar to this, where the community land trust owns the land. The residents that live in the building own it as a co-op, and they work together to enforce all of the covenants that went into place. And the co-op people own the building, and the community land trust ensures those covenants. It's a beautiful structure. People live in downtown Los Angeles right now for $600 a month in an apartment. We can create that kind of situation in here. So there are a lot of creative solutions out there. Please get together with other jurisdictions and figure this out, because 75 people should not be made homeless because of the financial mismanagement of Shangri-La Industries.
Thank you, Jeff, for your comments and concerns. Next, we'll have Andrew Romaine and then Carlo.
Good morning, honorable supervisors and staff. My name is Andrew Romaine. I'm a board director with the Chino Valley Independent Fire District. Stand beside me is our fire chief, Chief Dave Williams. And I'm here to speak on item 43, not in protest, but in gratitude. You know, we are an agency that has a limited source of funding, so anytime the county can partner with us and provide necessary equipment or even cutting-edge equipment, we are extremely grateful. For people who don't know, you guys are going to collaborate with us to purchase an item strictly for, well, not strictly, but for mainly for fighting EV fires. Electronic vehicles, as you guys probably know, have extensive battery packs that are very, very difficult to extinguish. So this piece of equipment is going to allow us in our area and the region to support our citizens. So just standing here before you to say thank you very much on that item, and we look forward to collaborating with you guys in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Andrew, for your comments. We appreciate that in the partnership. Okay, next up to speak is Carlo. Carlo here? Good morning, Carlo.
Good morning. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Just want to go ahead and introduce. This is the ladies that I've been helping, and we've been all helping each other here. The flag comes from my deployment. It's a flag that also survived a rocket attack in Africa in 2019, 2020 timeframe. But what I want to speak to today is the Constitution, right? And give recognition to the sheriff. I know the sheriff's department here in San Bernardino experienced a very, very, very horrible incident. But what I wanted to highlight with the sheriff was that he stood up and said he is going to get his day in court. As much as we have this primal instinct to do unto the lesser of us, those who have attacked us, but to do the biggest thing and say, you know what, you deserve your day in court. I want to recognize that individual for standing up for the Constitution. Today, some of us went out to the dependency court, and I'm still here to report that civil rights are being violated. We had a family, several women there as well, get their filings the day of the hearing. How can you defend yourself having your filings the day of? Guilty or not, we all have civil rights. These are the rights that I put my life on the line for. The brothers and sisters that wear the flag on their shoulder and on their chest. I've brought this up over and over. I've mentioned it to the director of CFS, Mrs. Glasgow, and we're still dealing with the same issues, same violations that have been going on for decades. I want to recognize those that have done the right thing for the civil rights, and also those who continuously violate them. Board, this is your responsibility too.
Carlo, if I could interrupt, if you have something that's specific on the agenda.
Yeah, it's recognition. It's number 2, I believe, sir. That's why I wanted to come up here and recognize. And pardon me. I'm not sure how much time I have left.
It has to be specific to the item on the agenda.
Okay, so recognition is number 2, and that's what I wanted to do. If my time is being cut, that's fine. I just wanted to go ahead and say and speak out that there are entities and agencies in this county that support the Constitution, are doing everything that they can, but there are agencies in the county as well who have for decades shown that they do not respect the Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlo, for your comments. This concludes all requests to speak on the consent calendar. This in, who is it? Oh, we have one more. Is she present? Okay, she'll be coming in right now. Yeah, Ms. Lucia, step up to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes. Good morning, Renee, please.
Good morning. Thank you very much. I just want to second what Seth and Jennifer said about Joshua Tree. We have you guys are allowing too much.
Renee, could you step up to the mic, please? Or
Okay, you guys are allowing too much commercial businesses that are not appropriate for Joshua Tree. Okay, we're a quaint, locally owned place. We have people who own their own businesses. We have people that own their own land, their own houses, and that's what we like, and that's how we want to keep it. Big corporations are taking over the town, and we don't like it. It started with all the Airbnbs. Most of them are not locally owned. The money doesn't stay there. It goes out to someone else. I don't even have any neighbors anymore. They're all Airbnbs. And now you're allowing huge housing projects and commercial businesses. And that's not what people come to Joshua Tree for. People come to Joshua Tree because it's quaint, it's beautiful, you have room to move, and that's how we want to keep it. Okay? The other thing is, I don't believe that you guys are being transparent with us. We don't find out about these things that are going on in our own neighborhood. You don't make it public. You try to do it behind closed doors. There's no transparency. And that is very upsetting to those of us who want to come, want to talk about things, want to be part of our where we live. Okay. Yeah, and I just wanted to close with natural beauty. Once it's gone, it's gone. You know, you put in all these commercial things, you have all these Airbnbs, no place for people to live. Once the beauty of our place is gone and taken up by commercial things, it's not going to come back. It's not going to be able to be made the beautiful place that it is now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Renea, for your comments. This concludes all requests to speak on the consent calendar. Are there members on the board who wish to speak or pull an item for discussion?
Chair, I'll move the consent items minus the 3 that I have a conflict on.
Okay, it's been moved by Supervisor Hagman, noting the abstentions, been seconded by Supervisor Armendariz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. With that, the consent calendar is approved with Supervisor Rao absent and Supervisor Hagman abstaining from 22, 36, and 111.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next, we'll go to discussion calendar item. This is item 134. We will now move to our discussion calendar, beginning with 134 in the public hearing for Capital Improvement Program Project, Energy Efficiency Solutions, Agreement with Alliance Building Solutions, LLC, for Energy Efficiency Solutions Phase 2 project at various county facilities, being presented by Mr. Don Day. Thank you, Don.
Mr. Vice Chair, if I could ask you to please open the hearing.
And we can now open the public hearing. Thank you,
Thank
Madam Clerk.
Good morning. Good morning, Vice Chair Baca, members of the board. My name is Don Day. I'm the Director of Project and Facilities Management. As utility costs continue to skyrocket, energy efficiency becomes increasingly important. The item presented before you today contains 11 actions that, in summary, recommends a finding that a second phase of energy efficiency efforts is in the best interest of San Bernardino County. I mentioned this is a Phase 2 effort. We are currently in the final stages of a Phase 1 project with Alliance Building Solutions, who were contracted in October of 2023 to complete energy efficiency upgrades at 2 county-owned facilities. The Phase 2 project encompasses similar work with Alliance at 14 additional county-owned facilities, which also require heavy energy usage. Thank you. The contract presented in this item consists of 2 distinct scopes of work, which reduce cost for energy usage. On one hand, energy efficiency scope reduces the amount of energy used by replacing old lights and mechanical equipment with new equipment that draw far less electricity. Photovoltaic panels, aka solar panels, mounted to roofs and covered parking areas are known, on the other hand, as energy offset measures. And that's offset because they provide renewable energy that reduces the need for purchasing utility from the grid. Under this contract, Alliance is committed to be complete within 3 years and will do the work in a manner which limits the impact to staff and the public. Thank you. This slide represents the return on investment we would achieve by completing the work specified in the contract. Project Facilities Management, the County Administrative Office, and a third-party independent group collaborated to ensure the financial investment and savings were validated and in line with market standards. Alliance was originally contracted under the guidelines of Government Code 4217. Government Code 4217 intends, among other things, to provide the greatest possible flexibility to public agencies in structuring agreements to maximize economic benefits. In accordance with the code, the board must find it is in the best interest of the county to enter into what is defined as an energy services agreement for the installation of energy-related improvements whose cost to the county under the agreement will be less than the anticipated cost to the county for thermal, electrical, or other energy that would have been consumed by the county in the absence of the improvements. The same procurement method is proposed for this contract, which allows the county to pursue, and you'll see on here, key rebates and tax credits, which have strict guidelines and deadlines. Alliance has provided a schedule that aligns with their acknowledgement of those deadlines starting in July of 2026. And that's to complete certain amounts of the work to qualify for the tax credits. In summary, the project is planned to pay for itself within 12 and a half years and ultimately provide the county substantial savings. Thank you. This slide and the next slide is a high-level summary of a very large package of work, and essentially just breaks down per the 14 buildings that we have, which energy efficiency elements are proposed at each building. And this was a very iterative process to make sure that the return on investment was truly there. You'll see lighting, mechanical, which is heating, ventilation, air conditioning systems, building automation controls, renewable energy, which is the solar-covered parking, and other electrical upgrades. And then if you'd like to switch to the next slide, just another slide that summarizes high level the scope of work at each of the buildings. These next two slides visually represent the specific type of scope of work proposed under the contract. LED light bulb replacements make a substantial reduction in energy usage compared to old incandescent light bulbs, and along with other efficient HVAC and electrical transformers. And then on the photovoltaic scope of work consists, as I mentioned, of roof-mounted and parking lot-mounted solar panels, which offset the energy in the buildings. Certain systems are designed with battery storage to store power, which is used in lower light hours while there is still an electricity demand. And I appreciate your time. I'd be happy to take questions, and members of Alliance are in the audience for any technical questions.
Thank you, Don, for that great presentation. Madam Clerk, any members of the public wishing to speak?
Mr. Vice Chair, no speakers.
Okay, seeing none. Any board members, comments or questions? Okay, the public hearing has been closed. We have a motion by Supervisor Hagman. Supervisor Armendariz has second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. With that, the item passes with Supervisor Rao absent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll go to item 135, the transparent review of unjust transfers and holds Truth Act, Assembly Bill 2792, Public Forum, presented by Sheriff Travis Newport. Please come on down and make your presentation. We also have Chief Probation Officer Reese present. Thank you for being here.
Mr. Vice Chair, open the hearing.
I would like to open the public hearing. Please proceed.
Good morning, and thank you. This is an annual update or forum that we're required to do by the California Government Code regarding the Truth Act. I am Assistant Sheriff Travis Newport from the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department.
Tracy Reese, Chief Probation Officer.
Okay, so we'll give you a little bit of history. Basically, in January of 2014, it started out as a Truth Act, which was Assembly Bill 4. Basically, it prohibited law enforcement from honoring immigration detainers of undocumented persons if they were not in custody for a serious crime. And then it went further on to the Truth Act, which was AB 2792, which essentially, to paraphrase, required that we had to get written consent or give written notice to anybody in custody prior to any ICE interview or interaction. And then January of 2018, we had SB 54, which prohibits local law enforcement agencies from using, state and local law enforcement agencies from using agency or department money, facility, property, equipment, or personnel to investigate, interrogate, detain, detect, or arrest persons for immigration enforcement purposes.
For the Probation Department, pursuant to SB 54, the Probation Department does not inquire into an individual's immigration status for the purpose of immigration enforcement, detain a person based on a hold request from ICE, participate in 287G agreements wherein ICE designates officers to perform limited immigration law enforcement functions, or any program that deputizes a police as an immigration agent, participate in Border Patrol activities, including warrantless searches, use immigration agents as interpreters, participate in task force operations where immigration enforcement is the primary purpose, initiate contact with ICE to advise them of an individual's detention or immigration status. The probation department's protocol: probation officers will comply or cooperate with ICE when there is an active federal warrant for deportation.
So the Sheriff's Department may allow ICE personnel to conduct investigations only if doing so would not violate any federal, state, or local laws. ICE primarily conducts immigration enforcement by identifying in-custody inmates using biometric fingerprints. That's usually in the booking process. When the individual comes in, their fingerprints are entered into a database that's a national database. Federal, state, and local law permits ICE to identify and detain undocumented individuals who pose a threat to public safety. In relation to immigration, the Sheriff's Department will not enforce federal immigration laws or participate in immigration enforcement programs. Ask an inmate's immigration status for the purpose of immigration enforcement. Use ICE personnel as interpreters for the department-related duties in the jails, and that is all stated in the law. An inmate's citizenship and immigration status are not considered in the following: their housing, classification, access to educational or rehabilitative services, or credit earning opportunities. ICE may enter a sheriff's facility to conduct investigations or interview inmates like any other law enforcement agency. Prior to an interview, though, an inmate must first be informed of the following: purpose of a voluntary interview. It must be a voluntary interview and the purpose behind it. The right to decline the interview. The right to have an attorney present during the interview. And inmates receive these rights in a written form, which is called the Notification and Consent Form Reference Request for DHS/ICE Interview. ICE does have access to our detention facilities, like other law enforcement agencies. However, it's limited to the intake area, inmate interview rooms when they request and the inmate confirms that they're voluntarily interviewing, secure intake parking, and release areas. Also, per the law, ICE does not have a dedicated workspace in any of our jail facilities. ICE can submit either of the following two requests to the Sheriff's Department. One is it's the form I-247A, we call it the 247A, which is asking the Sheriff's Department to provide a release notification and or hold or detain an individual or inmate up to 48 hours past their county release date and then transfer an inmate to the ICE custody. Or there's the form 247G, which is asking the Sheriff's Department to only provide a release notification to ICE. Now, I'm going to state that 247A we do not honor for holds. It has to be a actual warrant or court order written by or signed by a magistrate, a federal judge. We will not honor just a regular hold. The Sheriff's Department will process the request to determine whether, pursuant to Government Code Sections 7284.6, 7282.5, the Sheriff's Department may comply with a request to provide a release notification and or a request to transfer. Again, as I stated, we do not agree to hold or detain an inmate longer than their regularly scheduled release date unless we have a court order signed by a federal judge or magistrate. Notify the inmate of the ICE request and the Sheriff's Department's determination of any action it will take. The sheriff will provide a copy of the ICE request and determination to the inmate and ascertain if the inmate would like the sheriff to provide a copy of these documents to an attorney or their designee. For example, if somebody goes from releases and they get released out, they're going to handle that situation on their own. The Sheriff's Department will not directly transfer an inmate to ICE personnel unless ICE has requested the transfer in writing and the inmate meets the criteria for transfer under Government Code Section 7282.5, which is a very extensive, long list of code sections that apply. So this is our statistical information from 2024. We have received 1,739 requests for notification of inmate release and or hold or transfer received. Now, of those, if they ask for notification, they do not always act on those notifications. Many times they will ask often, but sometimes they don't act. In other words, they do not come to the facility to try to make contact with that individual. Notifications of inmate release made was 203. Those are 203 out of the 1,739 that actually fit the criteria under SB 54. Inmate transfers into ICE custody made. There's a typo on this one. It says 4 on your screen there, but it's actually 17 total. Hold requests honored. As I stated, we do not do those, so we have 0.
For probation, we had one notification of probation, a check-in made during this reporting period.
So obviously, we're required to make public notice of these types of forums that occur annually. So as for today's date, December 16th, 2025, they were published on November 14th in 2025 on La Prensa, and then November 16th, 2025, the San Bernardino Sun, the Daily Press, and the Press Enterprise. Any questions?
Thank you, Assistant Sheriff Newport and Chief Probation Officer Reese, for your presentation. Any members on the board make any comments? See none, I will close this public hearing. This is a receive and file, so not required to vote on this item. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, and the last item on the agenda is item number 136, establishment of truck routes, being presented by Mr. Miguel Figueroa. We will now open the public hearing.
Good morning, Vice Chair Baca Jr., board members. My name is Miguel Figueroa, Land Use Services Director. By my side is Colin Drucker, Principal at PlaceWorks, the consulting firm that has consistently helped us through the process of making sure that we are compliant with our policy mandates. Before you, we have a presentation for Assembly Bill 98, which is updating the truck routes in unincorporated San Bernardino County.
So, Assembly Bill 98 was passed in September 2024 and requires local governments to adopt truck routes that reduce impacts to sensitive receptors, such as homes, schools, and hospitals, while maintaining safe and efficient movement of goods. While most jurisdictions have a deadline of 2028 or 2030 to update their truck routes, jurisdictions like the county that are in what the state defines as a warehouse concentration region must update truck routes by January 1st, 2026, effectively the end of this year. After AB 98 was enacted, the county spent the first part applications of changes, especially one that crosses jurisdictional boundaries. The county and many other jurisdictions requested that the state extend the deadline, but no such relief was given in the cleanup legislation of Senate Bill 415. So in the second half of 2025, the county continued to coordinate with local agencies and conduct public outreach to raise awareness and obtain feedback on potential truck routes in a digital format for logistics operators and truck drivers to use, and for greater awareness for the public and other agencies. The county will also initiate the design process for installing signage for truck routes, truck parking, and appropriate idling areas. In early 2026, so beginning next year, county staff will regroup with jurisdictions that may have recently updated their truck routes toward the end of this year, there's a big batch, or in the first few months of 2026, to determine if truck routes in other parts of the unincorporated county should be updated. County staff will also conduct additional outreach in key communities like Muscoa and Bloomington. Much of the discussion in 2026, internally with other agencies and with the public, will focus on how the county can improve its strategies and approaches to enforcement of new truck routes and truck restrictions. In an ongoing manner, county staff will continuously evaluate the need to update its truck routes and/or collaborate on adjusting truck routes in other jurisdictions. So given the tight timeline of state law, both given its relatively recent nature and the deadline of the end of this year, and the added complexity of the multi-jurisdictional nature of planning, conducting public engagement was a bit of a challenge. The county began raising awareness of the new law and update efforts starting in June, and then once it was ready to share meaningful information and potential strategies, conducted focused engagement in October with targeted activities at events in the Valley region. The county also met with surrounding incorporated jurisdictions multiple times. To meet the deadline of updating truck routes in the policy plan by the end of this year, the adoption hearings with the Planning Commission took place in October, and we're here today with the board. So staff's recommendations ultimately reflect key takeaways from public engagement, which are shown here on the right. So not designating Cedar Avenue as a truck route in Bloomington, including implementation actions to identify additional roads where heavy heavy-duty trucks should be prohibited, and including implementation actions to conduct additional outreach with a focus on enforcing existing and future truck routes, truck restrictions, and maintaining roads impacted by truck traffic. Outside the Valley region. Beyond what the federal and state routes provide, along with the high desert corridor that's in the planning stages, and local roads designated by incorporated cities and towns. Within the Valley region, the county identified 4 areas where potential changes should be considered. So the first area is known as the East Valley Area Plan. This is an unincorporated area surrounded entirely by the city of Redlands. The state and federal are shown as thin blue lines. Sensitive receptors in the unincorporated county are shown in that pale green. So the gold lines identify where, should the board adopt, county truck route designations would ensure a consistent set of connecting truck routes within and around the East Valley Area Plan while minimizing exposure to sensitive receptors. Notably, we're recommending and California streets, shown as number 1 and 2 there, which directly connect to the 10 freeway in order to avoid trucks traveling along and between the residential areas along Nevada Street. The second area is unincorporated Fontana. As before, the state and federal truck routes, here the 10 and 15 freeways, are thick blue lines, and local truck routes designated by the cities of Fontana, Ontario, and Rancho Cucamonga are the thin blue lines. Sensitive to the city, we found that Etiwanda Avenue, Cherry Avenue, Arrow Route, and Valley Boulevard all made sense as county truck routes, and so does a portion of San Bernardino Avenue. However, given the residential neighborhood, was no need for a truck route to travel the entirety of San Bernardino Avenue. So as a part of the county's implementation plan, county staff are looking to potentially prohibit truck travel along the eastern extent of San Bernardino Avenue. And the city of Fontana agrees and actually has already removed the eastern extent of San Bernardino Avenue as a truck route in its maps in the city of Fontana. And adjacent to the city of Rialto, the primary state and federal truck routes are the 215 and 210 freeways. In 2022, the city of Rialto removed its truck routes in the surrounding areas shown on this map. The city of San Bernardino considered a number of potential truck routes in and around Muscoy, which is what's shown in this map and dashed blue lines. Routes are seen as necessary in Muscoy by either the city or the county. And in fact, last week, the city only adopted 2 segments of what's shown on the map that are near Muscoy. So just above the words, the street label Cajon Boulevard, you kind of see that road traveling in parallel with Cajon Boulevard that prevents access aside from as an overpass on University Parkway. There's that small portion of University Parkway that goes north-south. That was also adopted as a truck route by the city, so that short, so that it doesn't connect to Cajon Boulevard, so that truck traffic is not encouraged to continue to travel towards State Street. And just because we have lines shown on a map, and I want to make sure it's clear, what is on the map was what was being considered by the city, but what they adopted was only those 2 roads I talked about. There's essentially no part of Cajon Boulevard or Highland Avenue, as shown in this map, in and around Muscoy that were adopted by the city as truck routes. And the county is not recommending any truck routes either. So all of this bolsters the county's existing regulation that was adopted in 2022 to prohibit heavy-duty truck travel along State Street directly in Muscoy. And finally, in Bloomington, which is an unincorporated community surrounded by Fontana to the west, Rialto to the east and north, and Jurupa Valley in Riverside County to the south, the 10 freeway represents the primary major federal truck route. However, the 215 and 60 freeways are nearby and connect directly to roads that travel through Bloomington. The surrounding cities have designated several nearby and connecting roads as truck routes. So given the large amount of industrial development south of the 10 freeway and connections to truck routes and interchanges in Fontana and Rialto, Slover Avenue makes sense as an east-west truck route in Bloomington. In the southeast, along Agua Road, there's a small gap between existing city truck routes that's in front of existing industrial development, so a county designation is proposed to close that gap. The county evaluated the option of adding Cedar Avenue as a north-south truck route, given its direct access to the 10 freeway and its current designation as a truck route in Rialto and Jurupa Valley. However, ongoing discussions with the city of Jurupa Valley indicate that the city may limit truck traffic along, it's called, oh gosh. Well, it's a different road. It's almost French, but anyway. Rubidoux. Somebody in the audience help me out. Rubidoux, they may limit truck traffic to local traffic only. Additionally, per federal law, local truck-based businesses in Bloomington will continue to be allowed to use Cedar Avenue with or without a truck route. So given community input and the need for additional coordination with Bloomington do not support industrial development, so accordingly, Valley Boulevard is not recommended as a truck route. The county is coordinated with Fontana and Rialto, and neither city will show truck routes in Bloomington on their maps, and they all agree about Valley Boulevard. To better protect the residential areas in Bloomington that are adjacent to industrial development in Rialto, a new weight-restricted route is proposed along Santa Ana Avenue as part of the county's implementation plan. An update to the proposed changes listed on this slide is subject to CEQA, but can leverage the EIR prepared for the countywide plan in 2020. So the action being considered by the board is the formal designation of 12 roadway segments as truck routes, identification of 2 segments for local truck restrictions, and refinements to policy and implementation language. So as evaluated in the addendum to the countywide plan EIR, no part of this effort is expected to create new or substantially different environmental impacts.
Board members, this concludes our presentation. We are here to answer any questions you may have.
Oh, thank you for your presentation. We do have several requests to speak at this time. We have 14 requests to speak. And I'll start with the first 2 that require translation, or requested translation services. It's Maria Velasquez and Sandra Minjares. If you can please step up. Maria? Is Maria here?
María, aquí.
¿Para allá?
¿Está bien dónde está?
Sí. Buenos días, mi nombre es María Velázquez.
Good morning. My name is María Velázquez.
Soy residente de aquí de San Bernardino
I am a resident of San Bernardino,
y vengo apoyando también el Centro Comunitario de Acción y Justicia Ambiental.
and I'm here to support the Centro Comunitario de Acción y Justicia Ambiental, which is an Action Community Center for Environmental Justice.
Solamente les quiero venir a compartir que a mi conocimiento,
I just want to share with you that as far as I know and to my knowledge,
les quiero compartir que tenemos muchas calles dañadas en el área.
I want to share with you that we currently have a lot of roads in our community that have been damaged,
Debido a las rutas causadas de los troques pesados,
and that is due because of the damages caused by the truck routes that are currently traveling there.
he notado que cuando se hacen las calles o las reconstruyen,
I've noticed that whenever the roads are repaired or when they're constructing the roads,
dejan pasar nuevamente los camiones enseguida, no dejan horas de distancia para que sean usadas y por eso también se dañan muy rápidamente.
they immediately allow the trucks to travel there without, letting some hours or day pass by so that they can, the road can harden.
Y también quería, puede decir culparse a los dueños de troques o los dueños de las empresas de esos troques.
You can probably say that you should blame the owners of the companies or the owners of those trucks,
Ya que por causa de ese peso es el resultado de las calles que estamos teniendo.
because I believe that because of the heavy weight of those trucks, that's how we get to the damages that we're suffering in our roads.
En mi caso, yo manejo una Toyota 4Runner
In my case, I drive a Toyota 4Runner,
y 2 veces he dañado el rocking pinion de mi camioneta y es a mi costo.
And twice I have damaged the rack and pinion of my truck, and those repairs come out of my pocket.
So, pienso que también los troqueros o las compañías, como ya dije, deberían de tener una tarifa extra donde ellos paguen y no seamos nosotros el daño de ellos.
So I believe that those truck owners or those truck drivers should have an increased tariff to pay for those damages that they're causing.
Tengo un hijo que trabaja en Edison.
I have a son who works for Edison.
Él maneja una Chevy Silverado
He drives a Chevy Silverado,
y él paga un extra por traer esa camioneta y no es para su trabajo.
and he actually pays an extra fee to drive that truck, and even though it's for his work.
Su carro regular es un BMW y no se puede usar en calles dañadas así como esas.
His regular car is a BMW, but he cannot drive that kind of car in those damaged roads.
Y por causa de esos troques que están pasando en nuestras ciudades también,
And also, another consequence of those heavy truck that are driving in our community,
están pasando por construcciones construidas recientemente que están abriendo y están haciendo un aglomeramiento de tráfico.
they are driving in recently built roads that are, causing a lot of traffic congestions.
Y también a causa de todo lo que sueltan los troques, están dañando a nuestros niños porque están pasando cerca de lugares públicos donde tenemos muchos niños.
And also, those big trucks are causing a lot of air pollution because that air pollution is going straight to our kids who are coming and going to school in that area.
So, me gustaría que ustedes, como teniendo, digamos, poder, pudieran hacer algo a favor de nosotros, los ciudadanos, y no solamente mirar el bienestar de los troques o de las fábricas que están construyendo recientemente.
So I'm hoping that you have the power as county supervisors to see into this and see our point of view as citizens, and not just go and see the side of the truck owners or the truck companies.
Yo trabajo nutrición, cuidado de salud.
I work for nutrition and healthcare.
Y tengo muchos pacientes, puedo decir que tengo muchos clientes que están sufriendo de asma.
I have a lot of patients under my care, and I can tell you that I have a lot of patients that are suffering from asthma.
Y todo el smog, todos los contaminantes que nos traen los troques pesados,
All the smog, all the pollution that are caused by those heavy trucks.
es lo que está causando mucho daño a nuestros pequeñitos que a corta edad están teniendo ya muchas enfermedades.
It's actually causing all those illnesses, even more so in our younger generation or kids who are causing health problems for them.
Personas que están sufriendo mucho asma, ataques de asma frecuentes.
There's a lot of people that are suffering a lot of asthma attacks, a lot of asthma issues.
Pero antes de llegar al asma, ya sufrieron lo que son mucha deficiencia respiratoria.
But even before they are diagnosed with asthma, they actually suffer from a lot of respiratory illnesses before getting to that level of asthma.
So, mientras no tengamos control de esos químicos, de todo lo que causan los trailers, vamos a tener una ciudadanía más deficiente.
So I believe that unless we get a hold and control those chemicals that are coming out of those trucks, we're going to have a community with illnesses and suffering from that.
Me gustaría que como ciudad tuvieran algún lugar, un website donde pudiéramos reportar todos los daños de las calles que estamos teniendo problemas.
I wish that the county offered a website.
That's time.
Thank you, Maria, for your comments and concerns. We appreciate it. Next, we have Sandra Minjares. She could please step up, and then following Sandra will be Mari Cabrera, and then Laura Anderson.
Sí, hola a todos. Mi nombre es Sandra Minjares, residente de Bloomington, California.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sandra Mijares, and I'm a resident of Bloomington, California.
Soy una madre de familia.
I'm the mother of children.
I have 3 children. Ok, vengo de parte del Centro Comunitario de Acción y Justicia Ambiental.
And I'm here on behalf of the Action Community Center for Environmental Justice.
Con la ley AB 98.
Speaking about the law AB 98.
Ruta de camiones en Bloomington.
And this is the truck route in Bloomington.
Buscando una solución para la comunidad.
I'm seeking a solution for our community.
buscando protección para las familias, tanto de salud como emocional.
And I'm looking for protection for the families, and we're talking about emotionally and health-wise.
Emocional por la parte de que estamos teniendo más tiempo perdido en las carreteras por culpa de los camiones y de las carreteras que no están aptas para transitar camiones pesados.
And I'm talking about the time we lose out on or waste because of the routes and the way they are designed for the heavy trucks.
Si antes teníamos 5 minutos para llegar a una escuela, ahora estamos teniendo de 20, 25 hasta 30 minutos perdidos en tráfico.
Previously, we talked about spending 5 minutes in order to get to a particular school, but now we're looking at 20, 25 to 30 minutes in order to get to the schools due to the traffic of the trucks.
Debido a que las carreteras no están en condiciones aptas para estar en áreas residenciales y tenemos que buscar alguna solución porque no podemos estar en conjunto camiones de carga y carros residenciales familiares.
So we are looking for a solution because the roadways are not adequate in residential areas. So we have to find a way that we can do this and the way to share this most appropriately for residents and the trucks.
Los puentes están congestionados. El que está sobre la Cedar para llegar al 10 está cerrado.
So the bridges are congested. The one located on Cedar in order to get to the 10 is closed.
Nada más está un carril abierto. Tenemos que ir por Riverside Avenue y está muy congestionado.
There's only one open lane and we have to go on Riverside Avenue, and that is way too congested.
Para ir a la elementary, está sobre la Jurupa Avenue y también es una área muy congestionada porque están saliendo camiones sobre las rutas y truck stops.
So in order to get to the elementary school on Jurupa Avenue, it's a very congested area because we have both the trucks going through that route as well as the people transporting the children to the school.
El voto de hoy es un paso para tener estas conversaciones, pero necesitamos más colaboración.
Your vote today is one more step in order to have this collaboration, but we need more of that collaboration to happen.
Esperamos más soluciones para mejorar la calidad de vida para nuestras familias.
We hope there are more solutions to improve the quality of life for our families.
Y es todo por hoy. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much. That's all for today.
Thank you, Sandra, for your comments and concerns. Next request to speak is Mari Cabrera, then Laura Anderson, then Ms. Pamela Gale.
Hello, my name is Mari, and I am here with CCAG to speak about item 136, or the establishment of the truck routes over the last 20 years in my city of Fontana. Trucks have become a major issue. The trucks have worsened the quality of life in my and surrounding cities. I'm glad the county is working to complete the requirements of AB 98 to address the increase of traffic, noise pollution, and increasing the safety in our area. You have to take into consideration the school and community routes. I don't want this process rushed, which it does feel like that. I want you to place yourselves in our shoes and consider whether you would allow your family to walk down the street on an overcrowded truck route where they honk to warn you they are taking the red light. I have now started to record my drop-off and pickup of my kids because I have been nearly hit by said trucks. I thought maybe if I dropped off or picked up half an hour earlier or later, I could avoid all the truck traffic. It didn't work. I know that this is a first step in that process, but I don't want it to be just a checked off mark to move on to the next step. I want to see real change and improvement, and I encourage you to get collaboration and outreach from the community, not just the city itself, because they do not really represent me. Every step of the process that we walk through with the community, we ensure that we catch any issues that may exist or come up during the process. I know that part of that issue is the weight restrictions that are hard to convey. I want a clear and concise understanding on the weight restrictions that the community and truckers can all understand. New warehouses are still being built in Fontana, and those streets are not ID'd for any weight restrictions. I don't want my neighbors to have that traffic directed in their neighborhood, and I don't want them using said routes as shortcuts into other cities like Rialto or Bloomington. Thank you for your time in trying to better AB 98 for all our communities.
Thank you, Mari, for your comments. Next, we have Laura Anderson, then followed by Ms. Pamela Gale, and then Tanya Gonzalez.
Hello. Thank you, Board, and thank you, Mr. Figueroa. I'm a resident of West Cajon Valley, and we're on Highway 138 between Highway 18 and Highway 15. It's a rural area. My concern with that being an approved truck route is that for residents, there's only one way in and one way out of the valley. There's one on each end, the east and the west. And so the congestion that we're already suffering because of traffic coming southbound on the 15 or northbound and using 138 as kind of an alternate route is already pretty severe. They recently started building scales at the top of the Cajon Pass, and I believe that the reason scales were previously south of 138 was because that was to prevent trucks from using 138 as an alternate to evade the scales. And with the scales now being at the top of the pass, any truck that possibly is questionable as far as weight will just be able to go around through 138 and get to the 15 without having to go through the scales. So that is a concern because I'm afraid that will also increase traffic on 138. Would like to request that we remove that portion of 138 between Highway 18 and Highway 15 from the proposed truck routes for those reasons. And in addition, there is already approved the High Desert Corridor over on Highway 18. So there is an alternate route. It's not necessary for them to come through 138. And finally, 138 is a scenic corridor. People come there to hike, people come there to enjoy the beauty, and it's also a valley. So the increased pollution from the trucks is just gonna sort of be trapped there between the mountains. So for those reasons, I'd like to ask that that particular section of 138 be removed from the proposed truck routes. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, for your comments and concerns. Next, we have Ms. Pamela Gale, then Tanya Gonzalez, and Ms. Stacy Ramos. Pamela.
Hi, I'm Pamela Gile from Bloomington, and I want to thank the planners for listening to the people of Bloomington and removing Cedar from the truck routes, and acknowledging that Slover, which was over years has always remained a truck route. Many people don't know that Bloomington was once 26 miles in area. It's now down to 6. Riverside Avenue, back in the late 1900s, was designated the truck route, but was also part of Bloomington at the time. And the idea, Bloomington was annexed down so much, down to what was considered at those times as the residential areas of Bloomington was all that's left. So AB 98 addresses that factor to keep truck routes out of residential areas when the planners in prior to 2000s saw that and had the trucks go around Bloomington and not let it be a shortcut for trucking to get to Riverside, but for the residents of the communities and neighboring communities of Rialto and such to be able to get through, because the trucks had Riverside, which is only a mile up. So to have two truck routes on top of each other is not a very logical sense, and to have them going through Bloomington is not. What would be nice to see is now that we're saying the truck, it's not a truck route, is that the board fund money for the CHP to now enforce the trucking laws, for the CHP to come in and make a plan of a task force to eliminate the illegal truck parking in Bloomington, along with the truck usage on Cedar, and actually ticket or warn and then ticket the truckers to that they need to use the appropriate ones. And I believe that would really condense the amount of trucks that will be going through the areas, and in the next year, it'll have a very different dynamic if we can get some actual enforcement of the trucking laws within our community. Again, I want to thank people, and I'd also like to ask that Bloomington always had a community plan, which was an overlay to planning, so that planning could look at that, of what the people of Bloomington had got together and put together, what the ideal of what their community's like. And that was an overlay that was always looked at before, that set atop the plan, which would help us a lot and would also help the planners. And again, thank you for removing Bloomington roads from the truck routes for AB 98.
Thank you, Pamela, for your comments. Next, we have Tanya Gonzalez, Ms. Stacy Ramos, and then Luis Carretero.
Hello, my name is Tanya Gonzalez. I'm with the People's Collective for Environmental Justice. I'm also a resident of Fontana and a community organizer in Bloomington. I want to start off by saying that we wouldn't have all of these health issues and infrastructure issues if you all would stop bringing so many warehousing into our community. That's an easy way to stop a lot of this. But obviously, I'm not sure when it is that you're going to understand that warehousing is not the way to go, and it's not a way that's going to help us improve the economy here in San Bernardino. I also want to bring up the fact that, in the presentation, there was community engagement mentioned, but it's I don't know if it's false, but it wasn't because you all reached out to community. It was because we asked for a meeting, for a specific meeting to talk about the truck routes, because you all were, using like our city meetings or using like smaller meetings that already existed to come and just bring it up for like 10, maybe 5-10 minutes. So there wasn't any true community engagement when it came to talking about AB 98. It's also, AB 98 itself is the bare minimum, and this feels like it's even lower than the bare minimum. So I think you guys need to redo all of that. Community engagement also entitles having information in Spanish or in other languages that the residents of the community that you're coming into is going to understand. And we did ask multiple times for Spanish interpretation. We've asked in these meetings for Spanish interpretation as well, but that doesn't exist, because if you're just going to have someone interpret, and I appreciate the interpreters here, but if you're just going to have someone interpret our comments to you all, but not have interpreters give us the information needed to make those comments, then it doesn't really make sense, does it? There's also another thing. There was recently a meeting with the developer of the Bloomington Business Park with Brookfield Corporations. And in that meeting, they brought up their plan for transit, and they have Cedar Avenue and Harupa Avenue as truck routes for that project. So it makes no sense. I did ask if they worked with the county when it came to this, and they said yes, but what you all are presenting and what they presented doesn't correlate. So I want to understand what's going on there. You know, you're not making sense. You're not listening to community, and you're not doing your job.
Thank you, Tanya, for your comments. Next, we have Stacy Ramos, Luis Carretero, and Joaquin Castellejos.
Good morning, Board. My name is Stacy Ramos, and I live in the city of Fontana. First, I want to thank the staff for restricting Sierra as a truck route because the traffic on Sierra in Fontana is abysmal at best. So I really want to thank you for that. I want to echo some of the comments that have been made by some of the other speakers. The community engagement has not been great. There has not been meaningful engagement where there was actually any kind of way for the community to give like real constructive feedback. And I think that this is something that we need to work on together to ensure that the community's voices are heard at every level of the decision-making processes. My other concern is that the enforcement. These are really great ideas for restricting truck routes. And again, we wouldn't have to restrict truck routes if we didn't have so many warehouses, but here we are. How are we going to enforce these truck routes? Because I see trucks every single day going up Sierra, going up over the hill, going to Valley Way. And to me, how are we restricting this? Is there going to be a tip line? Is there going to be a way for community to report these if the trucks aren't going on the truck routes? And that's a real concern because how is community supposed to hear their voice? Are they just supposed to call 911 every single time? There's a truck not on the truck route. That doesn't seem very efficient. So I definitely want to reiterate that community feedback is super important. Community involvement is super important. And we need to make sure that we're making meaningful community like guidelines, like having town halls, also having town halls and meetings at times that residents can actually attend. I'm, again, a resident of the city of Fontana. I could not attend my Fontana City Council meeting to give feedback because that meeting is at 2 p.m. during a time that most people are at work. I would like to also comment that this meeting is at a time that most people are at work. So if we would like to get more community feedback, people aren't able to come because it's during a time where they're at work. So having that meaningful feedback at a time like 6 p.m. where folks can actually come out and give that would be really imperative. So thank you so much and have a good day.
Thank you, Stacy, for your comments and concerns. Next, we have Luis Carretero, Joaquin Castellejos, and then Roxanne Pazo.
Good morning and hello. My name is Luis Carretero, and I'm here today with CCAJ as an ambassador to speak about item 136, the establishment of truck routes. I live in the city of San Bernardino, where trucks have become a major issue and have been a major issue for a long time. Over the last several years, truck traffic has increased, leading to more noise, more pollution, reduced safety, and worsening the quality of my life and the life of my community for years. It is good to see that the county is working to complete the requirements of AB 98, but I do feel it to be a bit rushed because I do not want to stress the importance of making sure and that it is clear that you just do not just check a box that is needed to be checked. I also want to see real change and improvement. So the document and plan before you today is a first step, but we need more outreach and collaboration between. As Stacy Ramos earlier said, I believe it is kind of strange that you have this meeting at a time where most people are at work. So if you want people to voice their opinion and comment on an outreach for our community, it's imperative that you put it in a time that works with community. So there's also a number of issues with what has been prepared, especially in the Bloomington community for one. The first problem is that the existing weight restrictions are a tangled mess that is not very easy to convey. And then I want to see better presentation and restrictions that is easier for truckers and community to read and understand. The number streets are not identified for any weight restriction, yet they directly front an under construction logistics development in the city of Fontana that is immediately adjacent to their location. I, for one, back in 2023, suffered a accident at the hands of the road on Slover because a truck had caused a pothole to appear there, and because it was raining and such, I had rim damage. So I filed the proper paperwork with the county, with the city, and because it wasn't incorporated, I had to go to the county, and nothing. No response at all, no feedback. I gave you my email, my phone number, and everything, and I waited for months with no response. So appreciate that. Santa Ana also is identified for weight restriction east of Cedar due to being used as a shortcut for trucks in Rialto. But that restriction is also necessary west of Cedar to ensure that trucks from Fontana do not use it as a cut-through either. And so then I thank you for your time for working on these updates. I really did not wish it took, something like Assembly Bill 98 for us to get here. But, now that it is here, I want to make sure that we're able to move forward and with regular updates. Thank you.
Thank you, Luis, for your comments and concerns. We have Joaquin Castellanos, Roxanne Bazo, then Daniela Vargas. Joaquin?
Yeah, good morning, board, staff, community. My name is Joaquin Castellanos. I am a resident of Bloomington, and I'm with the Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice. I'm here today to comment on the updates to the truck routes in Bloomington. First, thank you for removing Cedar as a truck route. I think that was really important for the community, and it feels good that we're heard in some capacity. But it is unfortunate that there are already all these truck-oriented businesses on Cedar that will still allow trucks on the road, and hopefully that's a learning lesson for the Planning Commission and the board to think about the future of what these roads will look like and how it will impact the community and the planning of these communities. The planning of Bloomington in general seems like it's all mixed match. There's things everywhere that shouldn't be where they're at. And, now with AB 98, it's like an attempt to fix that or to help protect the community. But, we need to see now action, not just words, not just this is now a weight restricted route and this is a weight restricted route, but something that will really mark a change in how folks feel when they're driving the streets, how they feel when they're dropping off their kids at work, at school, or going to work, or they're going to shop. People don't feel safe right now, and what we want to see from the county is some action to make people feel protected, like some infrastructure changes, some better signage or something. I think the comment earlier about the mess with the weight restricted routes is really important because some are 10,000, some are 14,000, and a lot of people just don't know what difference that makes. Also wanted to on the community engagement piece, it was just not adequate enough. Like we had to ask the county for that other meeting, and if it wasn't for People's Collective for Environmental Justice and CCAJ doing outreach, there would not be people at that meeting to give comment. I thought the meeting was great. Vincent and the other person there, they really allowed people to give their opinions and comment and add sticky notes to the map. And I feel like that's what we should have had all across the community. There should have been meetings in every part of Bloomington. And also unincorporated Fontana, I don't think y'all had any type of outreach there. And it's unfortunate because that's also a huge population that should have been outreached to or given more opportunities if there was something, but they should have had more opportunities to comment. But in general, just to finish my comment, I hope to see more action from the county in the year to come, 2026, to act on these new changes and to make
That's time.
a difference.
Thank you, Joaquin, for your comments and concerns. Next, we have Roxanne Bazo, Daniela Vargas, and Andrea Viduari. Roxanne, right here. Oh.
Hi, I'm Roxanne. I'm a fifth generation of Bloomington. I have a couple of complaints. If you're going to put signage up, you need to inform the CHP that no parking means no parking, not a 72-hour. I live on a street that is under 25 feet. They came, they marked it with signs, no parking. We have in our little street of Taylor Avenue, 5 truck lots. And sometimes it gets so congested because two of them are across from each other. As they're coming in, they're coming out, they're dropping their trucks on the street. They're parking them on the side of the road. Then we have the ones off of Valley Boulevard by Locust. Oh, we don't have enough space, go down to Taylor. So they go down there. We call it in. CHP comes. Oh, they have 72. What part of no, the N or the O, do they not understand? It means no parking. 1 minute, 2 minutes if you leave your truck. If you stay in your truck and you've got an emergency, then leave. Check your truck, mark it, tag it. Okay? Stay there till tow comes. Leave it. CHP comes. They don't even give them a ticket. So, you're going to start putting signage up. You need to make sure that that is loud and clear with CHP because Bloomington's had it. Cedar and Etiwanda are the only full routes from the 60 to the 10 to the 15. Those were always marked as a truck route for overflow for the freeways, for getting to north to south. Cedar needs to stay as a truck route. Right now, a lot of people from Bloomington don't understand because of our overpass. But the thing is our supervisors postponed it and postponed it and postponed it until finally we're getting our overpass at a very inconvenient time. So there's a street called Orange, which is where the middle school used to be at.
That's time.
Thank you, Roxanne, for your comments and concerns. Next, we have Daniela Vargas, Andrea Bedwari, and then Jane Hunt Rubel. Daniela?
Here.
Oh, there she is. Sorry.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Daniela Vargas, and I'm a South Bloomington resident. In recent years, truck traffic has become a really serious issue, leading to increased noise, higher pollution levels, reduced safety, and really a declining quality of life for Bloomington residents. And again, as has been mentioned, this is only a Band-Aid solution for the bigger problem of overburdening Bloomington and surrounding Inland Empire cities with warehousing. So I'm just here today to emphasize that the community engagement process for these new truck routes has felt rushed and really inaccessible to the community. There was only one community meeting, and that meeting only happened because our local organizations fought for it for us. The county has done the bare minimum to engage the communities that will be directly affected by these proposed truck routes. So this is really just an ask to the community and everyone involved in this decision-making process that meaningful outreach, collaboration, and the need to provide translation is important for future meetings and future projects, and has to continue past this point, past this vote, so that all of our issues surrounding truck routes, warehousing, and road management can be addressed in the future. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniela, for your comments and concerns. We have Andrea Bedwari, Jane Hunt Rubel, and our last request to speak is Ana Gonzalez.
Hi there. My name is Andrea. I'm with the People's Collective for Environmental Justice. We believe that the county should not move forward with the approval of this plan because it does not execute the intent of what AB 98 set out to do. The reality is AB 98 was inspired by the actions taken by this board. It was created to relieve some of the impacts the community of Bloomington and communities like them have been feeling. The intent of this bill was to center and prioritize your constituents, especially those that are already living in areas of high impact. You all have a responsibility to this community and to the state to follow AB 98. We believe that The analysis is insufficient. No valid evaluation was done to analyze the impacts during the truck route selection process, nor has the infrastructure been analyzed to see if it could support additional truck routes. Take, for example, the Cedar Bridge, which we have no idea when it will be finished. We need a real environmental review done to analyze what roads make the most sense to reduce the local impact to residents. And lastly, I could go on and on about how we disagree with the way this board has planned for the future of Bloomington, which really does go against the Bloomington Community Plan. However, it's good to see Cedar Avenue taken out. But if you continue to plan for industrial projects nearby, then it is useless. So Cedar has so much potential to be a commercial or a downtown area. It just needs that creativity and willingness from this board alongside the community. We should really be taking this as an opportunity to think about the future together when it comes to the future of Bloomington for the sake of the residents and the businesses. A huge queue already exists on Slover and Cedar Avenue, and you know it if you've been down there, which is bad for the truck drivers, it's bad for the resident, and it's really bad for the first responders that are trying to go up and down that road. There's opportunities with SCAG and other transportation agencies to get resources in about traffic calming measures and other ways we can supplement the county to bring in resources for these things. But we just need to continue to have these conversations. So don't let this be the last conversation, and I hope to hear when the next follow-up conversation will be to be talking about how to actually enforce these truck routes. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea, for your comments and concerns. Our next request to speak, Jane Hunt-Rubel, concluded by Ms. Ana Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, board members. Yeah, I got a lot to say, but I tried to compact it into 3 minutes. Anyway, I'm going to speak on public comment after this. But anyway, I didn't know that this was going to be on board today because I forgot about it. But anyway, I just read the maps out there concerning Muscoy, and it said potential routes. See, I've been coming to these meetings and complaining about it for years about Cajon Boulevard because it's divisionary, it's divided. County, above us, I guess, is the city of San Bernardino because they build all those warehouses above us. And then there's our section that goes to California Street. And then you go beyond that, and then it goes down under the bridge, the Highland Avenue Bridge, and it curves around to get onto Mount Vernon Avenue. So what concerns me, because that's the route I take to get into, the city here. And it's getting worse out there. And then there's truck facilities along Cajon Boulevard, which I'd like to get rid of because they're a menace. But I noticed on that map it said potential. So I'm going to a meeting at the City Hall tomorrow, the city, because they're doing theirs too. And last Wednesday I was invited to a hearing there, but we left because they said you couldn't, it's a closed hearing and you're not supposed to make public comment. So anyway, I'm going to go to their meeting tomorrow, but I'm getting concerned about also Hallmark Parkway. You mentioned, I think, that's in the city. But what's a lot going on now is my way of getting over onto, because of Caltrans, they've been working on University Parkway. They're on the 215. They're making on and off ramp, accommodating trucks. That's what I gathered from it. And it's been taking them a long time. So if I want to go over to do business, at CVS or whatever on University Parkway, I have to cross over the bridge on State Street and go up to, I cut across now on Hallmark Parkway because it's such a mess. I don't know when they're going to complete it. So I go over there, then I go up to Palm, and it's going to be the same thing there because there's so many truck facilities there. And that's one point I want to make. Besides all these issues, the cities and the county of San Bernardino have got to stop building these warehouses. There's so many in Rialto that are still vacant, and this is just going to go.
That's time.
Thank you, Jane, for your comments and concerns. Our last request to speak is Ana Gonzalez. He left? Okay, well, that concludes our public comments or requests to speak. We'll now close the public hearing. Any comments or questions from the board? Supervisor Hagman?
Just want to say, appreciate everyone coming out. It's a lot of information. I appreciate the staff time putting everything in there as well. Just wondering, how often is this going to be reviewed and updated? I do sit on, on behalf of the county, sit on AQMD. We do have a lot of money going out to like zero emission vehicles as well. Does that change any outputs or any of the routes with zero emission?
To answer your first question, Supervisor, a lot of what's been said today, and it was touched on the presentation, is that we're going to hit the ground running beginning 2026 with much additional outreach. And a lot of that is because of the feedback we have received, and we want to make sure that we conform with what our community members are sharing with us. Colin, would you mind addressing that?
Yeah, and there's an implementation action that was added that talks about an annual review of truck routes, as obviously the landscape kind of changes dynamically and the need for where trucks should and should not go change across the county. It directs county staff to go and bring before the board any changes that are needed on an annual basis.
I know we're in a tight timeline this year because of the the action legislature took, but next year we'll have more thorough outreach throughout the communities.
Yeah, from now on, the county will have essentially the discretion to make changes as it sees fit. And obviously, as projects come on board there's individual site requirements that we're not talking about right now, but as those projects are subject to AB 98 and they either have to have access to a truck route or something else, that'll be something that could be seen as a decision about a specific project.
I know we're encouraging, the state's encouraging the transition to zero emission technology over a period of time. A lot more of the extensive review we've done at South Coast AQMD is how do we get the infrastructure to support those zero emission technologies? So that has to be integrated into the routing as well. It's one thing to have a route, but you also need to figure out how to maintain, and to supply the energy needed for some of those technologies going forward. So I think I'm encouraged to work, obviously with our regional COG of SB COG as well, because it is, the county has a few roads, but the majority of these routes are within the incorporated cities. And so to coordinate those different levels of both, not just the movement of the vehicles, but also the support and the transition to the technology we need to support the newer, and also, as a couple of our comments said, SCAG and AQMD. So those are multiple layer agencies that go in that we have a little more time over than 2026 to work within those to come out for more of a sophisticated plan, as well as all of our community groups. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Hagman. Supervisor Armendariz?
Yeah, my only request is when we do come to this in 2026, if you could keep my office apprised of when we're doing this. I'd like to work with you guys collaboratively and maybe host a couple of outreaches so we can actually hear from our community locally. I heard a few people here today who are from my district who have major concerns, and I want to make sure we're getting those concerns addressed meaningfully. So just keep us in the loop so we can be at those meetings.
Absolutely, we'll coordinate.
Thank you.
Supervisor.
Thank you, Supervisor Armendariz. Any other comments? I'd just like to thank staff for their great work on this. And we know that the biggest challenge is we're on a time crunch. So in order to adopt this, the state has required that we adopt this. But I want to thank staff and my colleagues for their input in offering for, you want to comment? Yeah. My apologies.
No, you're finished.
No, I just want to thank staff for offering for future public outreach. I know one of the things that we talked about was just signage, and some of our communities continue to sign. One of the biggest challenges we have is just, the funding for enforcement, and that becomes a big challenge, especially in our unincorporated areas. A lot of people don't realize that in our unincorporated areas, it's basically the highway patrols that are responsible for the enforcement of traffic in our unincorporated areas. So those are conversations we got to have. But I want to thank you for the great work. My apologies. Supervisor Cook?
No, it's very depressing to hear the presentation, and basically this is all our own fault. And I'm a product of the military. I think most people know that. And unfortunately, we had a few wars. We had a lot of activity in the Pacific. If you look at the installations, half of them are closed, but everybody go to California. Why? Because the sun shines every day. You can train. No one's around when you're shooting off artillery or bombs or this or that. And I'm a product of that. You know, I'm originally from Connecticut. Where are you going to train in Connecticut? You fire artillery, and it's in Rhode Island. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but this is something the planners long ago, I don't think they envisioned the number of people and everything else. It would be this tremendous movement westward. It's a great place. Movie stars, this and that, people with money like the chair. You know, I enjoyed it. I'm living here. My wife, she's from California. If I suggest, hey, why don't we move back to Connecticut? Are you kidding me? The divorce papers would be awarded with the next day. Connecticut, you know, does the sun shine ever? Anyway, I'm going off on reasons why to do this. This is a problem that I don't know what we're going to do because I think it's only going to get worse. And land use and is probably going to be our biggest challenge on here because obviously we've got a county which is not very, very small. It's huge. I don't know how to solve truck rates. I'm a big believer that we got to put more and more money into trains and things like that that are not trucks, that are not carbon producers and everything like that. I'm a dumb grunt. I'm an infantry officer. And I don't know how to solve it. You guys are the scientists. I'm stupid. Yeah. You know, I got sisters from St. Mary's, St. Rose School testify from your grave how dumb Paul Cook was. And it amazes me, some of the knowledge that you have here. But this is the battle that is going to destroy us all in California. If we don't solve this issue, this is one of those, it just cannot continue to exist. I don't have the answer. The board members here are much smarter than I am. I'm just a dumb grunt. And, but I think it's almost, it should be a California emergency. It should be a national emergency because each year it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And that's just, I'm not going to be around to do anything about it, thank God, because I'll screw it up. But I don't know how we're going to solve it, but we got to solve it or people are going to die because I didn't do anything on my watch. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Cook, for your comments. Can I entertain a motion?
I'll move it.
It's been moved by Supervisor Hagman, been seconded by Supervisor Armendariz. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you, Vice Chair. With that, the item passes with Supervisor Rao absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That concludes all our agenda items. We'll now go to the general public comment. And what I'm going to do is we have 19 requests to speak. So we have quite a few requests to speak. What I'm going to do is take the first two, which are from our Joshua Tree site, and then we will take a short recess and then conclude. Would you like to continue? What's the will of the board? Continue? The will of the board, would you like to continue?
Yeah.
Okay, we will continue. All right, thank you. So we have two public requests to speak from Joshua Tree site, David Frick and Stacy Doolittle.
So my 3 minutes start now?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
It's David Fick, F-I-C-K, 40-year resident of Joshua Tree and 20-year board member of MBCA, Morongo Basin Conservation Association, and 3-year board member of Joshua Basin Water District. And today is December 16th, which is exactly 6 years from the death of my wife at a Bernie Sanders rally. And me and my wife were known as Idiva Graphics, as Ida and David put together Idiva Graphics. And Idiva Graphics was also the center and headquarters for a group called Desert Environmental Response Team, which was a political action committee that defeated 2 mega dumps in San Bernardino County. And then went on to defeat the Eagle Mountain mega dump for another 15 years. So we spent 20 years defeating more garbage than any living couple than any other couple. And Ida and I stopped 110 million tons coming to the California desert. The only recognition we ever got was what's called the 2022 Minerva Hoyt Award from the Joshua Tree National Park Association. 2 county agents of the 3rd District, one former and one current, were capable of defeating the ceremony. The ceremony was stopped. We got the award, which they tried to take away also, but we got the award, but the ceremony was canceled. And that's kind of a personal denigration of the legacy of my wife and I. It hurts. Now, regarding Joshua Tree. Joshua Tree has been always a forward-thinking community. And this effort, we are very appreciative of a lot of money coming towards Joshua Tree to make it work. But the concern we have is the sewer authority by the county. The weird logistics of this happening hasn't been told to us. It's been hidden to us from the county. Our county is probably the most opaque it's ever been in the last 40 years that I've been out here. We do not have a Chamber of Commerce. We do not have a MAC, and we don't have a open and communicative county representative out here. So it's very disappointing that this is going forward with the sewer authority part. The sewer authority will be fought by the Joshua Tree community every step of the way. We know what the results can be. We do not want the results. So I want to thank you for your attention and thank you for consideration.
Thank you, David, for your comments. Next, from the Joshua Tree site, we have Stacy Doolittle.
Hello, supervisors. I am speaking about the contracts now being executed to begin development of the Joshua Tree Sewer. I'm a twice elected official and serve as vice president of the Joshua Tree Water District Board. I've been in Joshua Tree for about 17 years. Protecting our aquifer from septic pollution is a valid goal. I appreciate it. However, this sewer proposal is an oversized solution that appears primarily designed to enable inappropriate large-scale development in Joshua Tree. I know that Supervisor Cook knows what Joshua Tree looks like. We don't need a bunch of development. The Water District Board has been disturbingly largely in the dark. The only information presented to us came after I contacted Congressman Ogrenolti's office in November 2025. There has been no partnership with the county, no presentation to our board, and no meaningful public engagement, despite the fact that this project creates a special district within our service area and will significantly impact our community financially and structurally. County representatives did not come before the Water Board to present this project or invite discussion. We were told this was preliminary in November after I asked, yet contracts are now being signed. This is unacceptable. Residents will understandably assume their local water agency managed this sewer system. It will not. We won't have any local representation, and we'll have to go to Victorville, an unreasonable burden to talk to anybody for a disadvantaged rural community. Joshua Tree no longer has a municipal advisory council, while sister communities do. Why do our residents lack an official channel to be informed and heard? Why were we not notified about this major discretionary expenditure and these major plans by those who represent us? I invite the supervisors to question these mysteries. The Community Action Guide for JT states that our residents, not developers, guide community vision. Where has that vision been sought, understood, or implemented here or in any of these development projects? I urge the supervisors to question this process, halt further action, and assist Joshua Tree in obtaining representation equal to other communities. Finally, installing sewer infrastructure in downtown Joshua Tree will enable large-scale development that is out of character with our unique downtown and identity that drives tourism and defines this place. We need that formula retail overlay. These projects, such as Love More and the Compass Yacht Club and the sewer, need to be looked at, and the county needs to perform a study of the cumulative impacts, which are considerable. Infrastructure must follow planning, not precede it. Joshua Tree's character, governance, and voice must be protected before irreversible
time.
decisions are made.
Thank you,
so
Stacy,
much.
for your comments. That concludes all our requests to speak from the Joshua Tree site. Next, we have Renee Mora, Frederick Miller, and William T. Carter. Renee Mora? Thank you.
Good afternoon to all board members. My name is Renee Mora. I'm currently residing at 450 North G Street. I am a resident. I'm also with Step Up. I'm here today on behalf of the tenants at the building. I'm hoping that we get some resolutions. I also have, I'm sorry, I'm a little mixed up today. I'm just gonna read what I have here. I'd like to give you some insight of what's going on. We were presented with paperwork to move to be removed from the building by January the 1st of 2026. However, they're offering us $5,000 to move. Now, I don't know how far 5,000 can take you, but it doesn't take me very far. Also, while I'm here, I'd like to present to you some complaints and concerns that I have living in the building. Since I've been residing there since July 19th of 2023, there's been 13 deaths. There's been 13 deaths in our building. We don't know if this is caused by mold or if it was natural death. There's no one that's concerned about the elderly people that are dying in our building. Also, I'm going through, I guess you would call a grievance with Step Up because I was terminated from the program because I refused to take therapy. I refuse to take therapy from students that are half my age and that are not qualified or licensed to handle my trauma. This is one of the ways that Step Up provides you with service. I guess that's how they get their funds, by saying behavioral health. I would like for the board members and the respective people to listen to us and help us resolve this problem so that we won't be left on the streets. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. So we have Frederick Miller and then William Carter. Then after William Carter, the board would like to take a recess. So after William Carter, so we'll let the last two speakers, and then we'll come back and conclude with the remaining. Frederick?
Yes, that's right here.
Please.
Is this on? Yes. Good afternoon to all you supervisors here. I'm here on the same situation as Step Up here, and I want to emphasize first that I'm extremely grateful to have a roof over my head. This is not a grievance about being ungrateful. This is the fact that I signed a lease, and the lease has been, I guess, ripped up, and they're going to do whatever they wanted to do. We're here today to deal with a crisis that starts at the very heart of our community, the looming specter of eviction and homelessness. For many, the concept of housing is a fundamental right, a foundation from which stability and dignity grows. Yet they are intended to take that away from us by offering us $5,000, which we cannot take. We're on Social Security. Taking that money has to be reported. So it's wrong to even take that. It's a trick it. to move out, and there's nowhere to go at all. My rent is $340.11. Then I want $2,000 by January 1st. And if that money is not paid, then they say they're going to go to credit union, report it, and we have to be evicted in the whole 9 yards. We didn't bring this on ourselves. We came there to get off the streets. I've been on the streets for 50-some years. Since I was a child, I've been on the streets. In all the foster homes and what have you, but back on the streets again. I had no home. I finally get something that might similarly look like a home, and now telling me I can't even stay there. So you were going to have 30 more people put back on the streets, which is a crime. According to the Supreme Court last year, it's now a crime. You could be ticket and placed in jail, told you're going to go here or else. It's totally, it's just not right. You got people there who are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, wheelchairs, walkers, people with heart condition, me who had a stroke, all sorts of issues here, and you tell us we have to be out by the 1st. That means New Year's Day they want us out, or else we have to pay this price. I don't have $2,000. That's my whole check. I pay $2,000. How am I going to feed myself? How am I going to clothe myself? What am I going to do with a toiletry? It's just impossible to do. So we're asking you, as a supervisor and community leaders here, to intervene and find something to do to stop this from happening to all of us and being placed on the streets homeless. Thank you.
Thank you, Frederick, for your comments. And our last public speaker, then we'll take a recess, is William Carter.
Yes, my name is William Carter, and I've been homeless for a long time. I've been to prison, I've been to juvenile halls and youth authorities, and then I came home and a program called Step Up helped me adjust out here. And my income is like $1,100 a month. I take care of a young lady who's getting ready to graduate in 2 months, and she's only like about 27, and she ain't never had a job, and she's lived on the streets also with me. And she's here today, and I got to take her to the doctors right after this. But I'm gonna just read what I got to say, and I'm very nervous because there's people like me who really need this type of help when you come home, and because I don't never want to go back for 5 minutes. I got through doing 25 years life sentence on a DUI, and nobody got hurt or injured. And this program is about to be taken from me. They want me to pay. First, they want to pay me $1,000, and they want to pay me $5,000. I know what it's like to live out there on the streets, and I know that it costs $100 just for a motel room. $3,000 would be 30 days. So I don't want none of that kind of money. I want assistance and help and a place to feel comfortable and healthy and adjusting to society like we're supposed to when we come home. And this program is being snatched away within 30-day notice. And I'm just going to say this real quick. My old nightmares are returning, the ones where you wake up in your dreams, where you think that you're going to go back to jail and I'm not going to do anything wrong. Thoughts of dreams of homelessness do not just simply go away. They haunt me quite regularly of late because they're saying I got to move back out there. I'm in a new fight now all over again of hopelessness shattered by people who are saying to take $1,000 or $5,000 and letters with no concern about us who are scared to death about going back out there to homelessness. Homelessness threatens my sobriety, my freedom, my mental state of mind is challenged and it's weakened. And I've lived in California, prison systems from juvenile hall, youth authorities, and my first adult, I had a first B number and an N number and an E number. And in 1994, I was sentenced under the 3 strikes law to 25 years to life. And I came home. They said if I didn't have a serious or violent offense, I could write to the court, and I got a chance to come home. Lately, I wake up with nightmares pretty much every day now, threatened by this homelessness.
That's time.
Thank you, William, for your comments. We still have 14 requests to speak. We'll go ahead and recess until 12:45. We'll return back at 12:45. Okay, what's her name? Okay, Ashley Burnett, just be our last speaker. Please come up.
Today, I'm feeling hopeless. The reason that I feel hopeless today is because I might have to be homeless again. I fought homelessness ever since I was 13. I was addicted to drugs and had to go through some things that women my age should never have to go through. I have completed my probation. I have been clean off of drugs for 3 years since being an addict from the age of 13. I'm currently going to school for my high school diploma, and I was supposed to graduate this month. But with the news of possibly losing our home, I've set my schooling aside for now so that I can focus on a roof over my head. This news is devastating to not only me, but to all of us who are affected by this sudden change. I know that if I end up homeless again, everything I've fought so hard for will be for nothing. That includes my education and my sobriety. Thank you.
We will now go into recess until 12:45. Well, good afternoon, everybody. We'll go ahead and reconvene the meeting and continue with our public comment. We have 14 requests to speak. We'll go ahead and go with Letitia Howard. Letitia Howard. Okay, we can come back to Letitia. Lucretia Kale. Okay, which one, Lakeisha or Latricia? Letitia, okay. Thank you, Letitia. Please proceed.
Okay. My name is Letitia Howard. I am here to place facts on the public record regarding conduct of San Bernardino County Children and Family Services. My children were removed April 2023 based on allegations that were never sustained, medical evaluations found no injuries and no abuse findings. No reasonable efforts were made prior to removal to prevent foster care placement. Services were not offered, referrals were not made, and alternatives to removal were not meaningfully explored. Since then, I have completed all required services. Once in October of 2023, due to retaliation, additional counseling was later imposed. As of April 21st, 2025, all services were again fully completed. Since that date, there has been no findings of abuse, no identified safety concerns, no new petitions filed, and no unmet requirements identified, yet the children have remained in foster care. Recently, we had a child family team meeting where the caseworker and her supervisor were asked specific questions about if there were any recent safety concerns that were holding up reunification and what type of requirements were incomplete. The social worker and her supervisor refused to answer those questions. And so basically the CFT meeting was pointless. Furthermore, Children and Family Services failed to make reasonable efforts towards reunification. Services were not timely referred or funded. They forced me to pay out of pocket for the services to complete my case plan. And those services were completed, yet again, reunification still has not occurred. I am requesting board oversight regarding the county's Title IV funding compliance, despite the lack of reasonable efforts before removal and failure during reunification. The county continues to claim reasonable efforts are being made. I am asking this board to review the county's Title IV certifications, accurately reflect actual practice, and whether federal funds are being claimed in compliance with the law. I have also experienced retaliation for advocacy, including raising concerns about my children's education, disabilities, and service delivery. Advocacy by a parent is a protected activity and should not.
Thank you, Letitia, for your comments and concerns. Next we have to speak is Lucretia Kale, then Carlo.
Hello, my name is Krisha Kale. I'm here today to raise a concern about the county's oversight and administrative compliance, not to argue an individual dependency case. Under Welfare and Institution Code, Section 16501, 16503, and 16513. The board is responsible for policy, direction, supervision, and accountability of the Department of Children and Family Services. My concern is that DCF is not consistently following required policies and legal standards, and that those issues are not being corrected through appropriate management review. Specifically, DCFS has shown inconsistent use of placement and visitation policies, decision-making that lacks documentation and management review, administrative action not supported by documented findings, lack of uniform compliance and state law and department policies. These are administrative oversight issues, not jurisdictional decisions. They fall directly into the Board of Supervisors' oversight and correction. When oversight is not effective, the result is longer foster care stays, increased county liability, and failure to meet state and federal child welfare requirements. I am formally requesting that the board order an administrative compliance review of DCFS proceedings related to placement and visitation. That they require management review and accountability standards and placement for visitation decisions, and that they also take corrective oversight actions where non-compliance is found. I am not seeking the board to intervene in a specific case. I am asking the board to carry out an oversight responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucretia, for your comments. We have Carlo, then Amethyst, then Jane Hunt Rubel.
Hello, good afternoon. I like you too, sir. All right, so I'm going to introduce myself as a CFS survivor of retaliation and also abusive tactics. But I'm also going to introduce a mother. Her name is Courtney. I was given permission to speak on her behalf and also share her story. And I'm going to title this is Cruel and Unusual. Cruel and unusual punishment is a statement that is written explicitly in our Constitution. The first laws that were ever created on this nation were written on those words were written on that document. Cruel and unusual. 5 years ago, she had lost her kids to her wife, right? Because her wife had beaten up her kids. And then she lost her kids for failure to co-parent with an abuser, the same tag that I received. Yet, a couple months later, those kids were lost to her after a domestic incident involving this particular lady and another partner of hers. Since then, Ms. Courtney has been trying to get her kids back. A week and a half ago, there was a forced adoption. Let that sit a little bit. Cruel and unusual. What does cruel and unusual mean in this case? 5 years of being told, take your classes, having visits every week, and then relegated to having once a month. That's cruel. But the unusual piece is, if I'm not the abuser, why am I getting punished as such? Mind you, I don't want to bring race into this, but I'm going to state a fact. Now, and I'll let the people here decide whether DCFS has been targeting Black and Latinas more than they have their own white counterparts. And I'll say this, Ms. Courtney lost her kids to a white woman who was abusing her kids. Now, that's cruel and unusual to keep these kids, these two boys, 10-year-old from his brother for 5 years in separate houses. Imagine what the pain that this brother's gonna have when he finds out that his little brother was adopted out. What's gonna happen to his soul? I spoke to Ms. Courtney. I was like, I got your back. I'm gonna be here to speak up for you. Because this, Ms. Courtney, there's hundreds of them in the system right now. And I'm gonna say this, San Bernardino has a very bad reputation in regards to CFS. We need to fix it, we need to clean it, and align it back to the Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlo, for your comments. Next, we have Amethyst, then Jane Hunt Rubel.
Chair and members of the board, my name is Amethyst Yates, and I am the Assistant Director of the Family Reunification, Equity, and Empowerment Project, or FREE Project of Starting Over, Inc. Our mission is to support parents who have been separated from their children, often through systems that claim to protect families, but too often end up breaking them apart. We work with parents every day who are doing everything in their power to reunify, attending classes, finding stable housing, maintaining employment, yet still face endless barriers and biases in the process. What we see time and again is the family separation is often based on allegations that have a very low threshold of proof, yet incredibly high threshold to disprove. Too often, parents face discrepancies in receiving discovery, meaning they don't have access to the information they need to defend themselves. And when they do receive it, it may arrive right before court with inadequate time to review and process. Combine this with the excessive bias held by some department personnel, and parents are left navigating a system stacked against them. The data and the stories tell the same truth. Children who are separated from their parents experience lasting trauma. They struggle with attachment, with trust, with identity. They often face lower educational achievements, higher risk of future drug or substance abuse, and long-term mental health. These are not temporary wounds. They affect children into adulthood and even across generations. And for parents, the pain of being torn from their children, often without fair treatment, adequate support, or clear pathways to reunification, is indescribable. Many are mothers and fathers who simply need help, not punishment. At the Free Project, we believe every family deserves the chance to heal and to stay together whenever safely possible. We've seen firsthand how powerful reunification can be, how children thrive when they are back with their parents, how communities grow stronger when families are whole. But for this to happen consistently in San Bernardino County, we need systems that are compassionate, equitable, and accountable. We need investments in community-based organizations that center lived experience. We need policies that focus on prevention, family preservation, fair timelines, unbiased treatment, and reduce unnecessary separations so that children are not left to face the lifelong consequences of trauma. We would also like to see the department held accountable so they can better serve those in need and ensure families are treated fairly and with dignity. I am here today to ask the board that the board work with and invest in organizations like Starting Over Inc. with the Free Project to create pathways that make family unity the priority, not the exception. Because every child deserves to know.
Time.
Thank you, Amethyst, for your comments. We have Ms. Jane Hunt-Rubel, Lisa Fain, then Ms. Clarice Davis.
Good afternoon, board members. I'm going to say, first of all, Paul Cook, you're not stupid. I agree with you on most of the root causes of all this. But anyway, you're not stupid. That's how I point that out. You're a rational human being that has common sense. But anyway, that aside, I'm here to complain. Thank you, Baca, for doing all you can recently, out in Muscoy concerning the off-road vehicles. But it's getting worse. I mean, I hate to say that, but just the other night, they're still street racing, and it's getting terrifying, so I'm hoping we do something about it. And I'd like to have a meeting out there in Muscoy. My neighbors are still bugging me. Make it a combined meeting, community meeting, but all telling people about AB 617 and the truck routes. I'd really appreciate to have that done out there in Muscoy. But anyway, it's still going on out there, and thank you, Sheriff Department and the Fire Department. They've been doing almost every night. I hear the helicopters flying over, and usually it would freak me out, but we need more officers and highway patrol. I know that's up to the state, and I keep begging our state assembly members and everything, because I know they're paid by the state. We need, because we have too many people living here that are not very, cooperative, law-abiding citizens. And they don't care about any laws pertaining to the streets, the road rage and everything. And it's getting scary, and I wish Caltrans would finish doing what they're doing over there on the 215, because it makes it really scary, because people get anxious. But for me to get over there, the routes are just packed. Caltrans, all they're doing is making on and off ramps wider to accommodate the trucks. And I just want to thank you for all you've done. And Merry Christmas and happy, I hope you have a great new year to all you board members and the county sheriff and fire department. I'd like to thank them. And next year, I'm hoping we get even more done and get some common sense and sanity around here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jane, for your comments. We have Ms. Lisa Fain, then Ms. Clarice Davis, and then Caroline Carrion.
Hi, I want to talk about trafficking, but not the trafficking you guys have heard so much about, the trafficking of our children. You guys are letting the children be sold out instead of put with their families where they're loved and they're wanted. CPS, it has a purpose. I was a foster parent for 7 years. Then when the system turned on me, these people that thought I was the greatest parent in the world were nowhere to be found. And it is a system that's impossible to navigate unless you've got a law degree. You go in there, they tie your hands behind your back. And Mr. Baca, I've called your office. I've written you so many letters. I've never gotten a response. So please hear me out today. This is a system that needs overhauled. It's horribly broken. Listen to the parents. The children are the long suffering. They'll suffer for the rest of their life over situations where they didn't need to be taken. Like I said, you can't even get a hold of supervisors within the department because at the reception office, you're cock blocked, which is ridiculous. You should be able to talk. Where's the case notes? It should be transparent. Police officers have to wear body cams. Why not them? Oh, because then they can't change the narrative. They can't make up, add, and delete stuff from your files that's presented to a judge as if it's fact. That's unfair. Let's incentivize reunification instead of separation and adoption. That should be the goal. Keep these kids in their homes unless there's an absolute danger. But again, as Ms. Amethyst said, that threshold, they could say anything, and there's no proof. And then you navigate a system for years, and a lot of people end up losing their homes. They're financing it over these crooked judges, or worse yet, the court-appointed ones. They do coercion. They do things that you see on Dateline. They're illegal, but they're not illegal in family court. I've said my piece. I'd like my case audited, and I'd like to know who do I speak to do that. Because again, my hands have been tied behind my back for the last 7 years. It's enough.
Thank you, Lisa, for your comments. Ms. Clarice Davis, then Caroline Carrion, then Kathleen Castellanos.
Good afternoon. My name is Clarice Davis, and I'm a resident at 450 North G Street. I've drove a school bus since 1986. I had to medically retire, take an early retirement from LA Unified School District because I got injured on my job. I ended up losing one apartment. I became homeless. I called 211. 211 helped me to get into this facility. According to this paperwork right here, my lease, they can't take me from $470 to $1,398 in 1 month. They can't give me a voluntary, put me out, give me money to voluntarily move and tell me first they tell me they're gonna give me $1,000, which is not even the rent that they're asking. Then they turn around and say, well, we'll give you $5,000 to move. But this is on a promise. They're not giving me anything to move. They're telling me if I voluntarily move, they'll give me $5,000. How am I gonna go and find a place when I'm still disabled? I haven't been able to have any surgeries because I was homeless. Now that I have a place and I'm getting established to have my surgery, then they're gonna tell me I gotta go. They've been telling the tenants here for the past couple of years since the gentleman, whoever it was, put the building up that, hey, we're gonna fix the electric door that we can go in with a fob, us folks with walkers and wheelchairs. They haven't fixed it. I've called code enforcement. I've called adult protective services. I've called all these different
Thank you, Ms. Davis, for your comments and concerns. We appreciate you coming. Okay, next we have Caroline Carrion and Kathleen Castellanos, then Ms. Karen Wright.
Members and advisors and supervisors of San Bernardino County. I was put this paper on my door on the 27th or 28th with my name and my room number stating that I would have to self-evict by choice or be removed in the year 2026 upcoming.
Ma'am, could you just move your mouth closer to the microphone?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I was born here in San Bernardino on March 5th, 1948. Therefore, I've always been here in this county. I find it my home. I find that it was a beautiful place in which to grow and go to school. My parents worked on all that. And now that I was married and my husband died and I was forced to lose the place because of the foreclosure. And since then, I moved into the car he left me, and I lived in there for like 2 years. And one day I went to the senior center, and they asked me if I wanted to fill in an application for a step-up, which I did. And a year later, I was called in and given a tour of the place, and it seemed so promising that I would be safely and comfortable there. And now they're throwing this at me, and I don't have nowhere to go. I have recently asked my son to come stay with me to, because I've been going to the doctors a lot. I'm up all risk. I don't use a walker. I have a cane, but I didn't bring it with me. But anyway, I do my best to be mobile and strong and face any situation on hand. And as my father said, you make your bed, you lie in it. And that's where I'm going with this, is because I want to stay where I'm at until I find a more suitable place that's not so close to downtown, because right now we got Sonic, we got In-N-Out, we got 7-Eleven, we got a car wash. There's a lot of constant traffic there, and I don't know why they put it all in one corner, but they did. And it's a nightmare at night or during the day if you want to go shopping, pay your bills or whatever. And I just don't have nowhere to go, so I was wondering if you could take into consideration wholeheartedly and not just check it out and just put it aside, like I'll get to this later. If you could do it as soon as you possibly can before the year's over and have some kind of a resolution towards this serious dilemma that we are all facing there at 450 North G Street in San Bernardino, 92410. I appreciate your time, your service, you hearing me out, and I want San Bernardino to grow even stronger, because there's been a lot of things that have happened in San Bernardino, like San Bernardino Strong, what happened with the massacre down in Waterman. We just want to be safe, and I love San Bernardino County, and I don't think I'll ever move to another place, but outside the country. But I just want to thank you all for hearing me today, and I praise that to God Almighty that you guys come to some kind of resolution, and I will
That's
stay
time.
strong.
Thank you, Caroline, for voicing your concerns. We appreciate it. Next is Kathleen Castellanos, then Karen Reich, and then Angel Huerta Jr.
Good morning, and allow me to introduce myself. My name is Kathleen Castellanos. I am an artist. I attend San Bernardino Valley College and will be graduating in spring of 2026. I am a resident of Step Up San Bernardino, and I am here today because individuals, including myself, are being forced out of our homes by illegal rent hikes. For my mother and I and many others at this facility, this project has been more than an apartment, but the first place that has ever felt like a true home. For 8 years of mine and my mother's life, home meant anxiety, stress, and fear, living out of cars, motels, and hotels. That used to be our normal. The building had changed that, and for the first time, our nights have been peaceful. The ability to be vulnerable and truly rest is because of the safety that the building had given us. The safety has allowed me to build my future, and now I could focus my energy into my studies and not into survival. Which makes the timing of what's going on feel so deliberately cruel because it is the Christmas season and I should be focused on spending that time with my friends and family. And instead, I'm consumed by stress and fear of being put out again. Today, I demand that the Board of Supervisors take immediate emergency action to stop all illegal rent increases at Step Up San Bernardino, enforce the affordability covenants tied to the home key funding, and investigate how this was allowed to happen and preserve these units as permanent and affordable housing. Do not let a state-funded solution to homelessness create more homelessness. Uphold the law, keep promise to these individuals, and intervene today. I thank you today for listening to what I have to say.
Thank you, Kathleen, for sharing your thoughts with us. Next we have is Karen Reich, Angel Huerta Jr., then Vaughn Kilgore.
Hello. I'll speak as long as my voice holds up. How is it okay that a grandmother can be lured over to her sister's house and her grandchildren removed from the reporting party, Terry Lewis, when I was not present? And then they removed my grandkids without a warrant, without law enforcement, and without a court order. And then they turned around and said, because of that, we failed to protect them from themselves. How is that okay? They're still in foster care a year and a half later. They haven't been placed with family, but yet they allowed my biracial grandson to stay with his paternal aunt who's African American. They didn't see the urgency in removing him at 10:30 at night like they did my white grandchildren. There's definitely a discrimination aspect to this case. How is it okay that I go to court on Friday, December 12th, for a hearing, and Mr. Joseph Burrell comes out and tells me the attorneys decided not to hear the case, and that they suggest I do a 388. I said, that was done yesterday. I filed it yesterday at a JV 180. I want to be considered for placement. I want my grandkids with me. And he said, okay, well, then just go home and wait for the court's response on that. Come to find out, they did hear the case. How's that okay to lie to a grandmother who's there for placement of her grandkids that the case wasn't going to be heard? What is going on? I know you guys have to have your own grandkids. How is this okay? I just want my grandkids back with me. There was no reason for them to be removed. My sister even said she made the referral, and it wasn't about abuse or neglect. It was about getting my sister diagnosed with ADHD. Well, who calls CPS for that? And why is it okay that the social workers didn't pick up on that and say, oh, this isn't a case for us. This isn't about abuse or neglect. But no, they took it and ran with it. And they still have $30,000 per kid they get just for the removal. Why are you guys using our kids as commodities to cushion your ever-growing budgets? I want my grandkids back. I want more visitation with them. I want them back now. Every day, how can I put a monetary value on a day that I'll never get back? I know you guys have to have your own grandkids. It's been a nightmare that I can't wake up from. Twins, boy-girl twins is who they removed from me. I'm sure you guys get a pretty penny for them. It's disgusting.
That's time.
Thank you, Karen, for sharing your comments and concerns. Next, we have Angel Huerta Jr., Vaughn Kilgore, and then Ms. Pamela Guile.
Hi, this is my first time talking. Thank you, Board, for everything, your service. It's not part of the agenda, but I want to bring it up regarding the vandalizing billboard on the freeway regarding the National Samoa Nation regarding it. That was really, really hateful. Come on, this is San Marino. It should not be done around here. I know it's the 2025, maybe 2026 next week, but we're all Americans. We're all human. You know, this should be talked again regarding it because it was never talked that I know about regarding the hateful. They bring a lot of helpful to regarding the homeless veterans, the seniors. They're really good people. They don't deserve this. They got the state of the city award. They deserve more respect. That's really hateful what they did to that billboard. They're us. We are them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Angel, for your comments. We have Vaughn Kilgore, Pamela Guile, and our last request to speak, Mr. Gary Grosich.
Good afternoon. My name is Devon. I am a parent directly affected by Child and Family Services in San Bernardino County. I'm here to formally report serious concerns regarding systemic misconduct within Child and Family Services. Based on my family's direct experience, these issues extend beyond administrative error and reasonably suggest systemic misconduct, misrepresentation, abuse of authority, and lack of meaningful oversight. I completed all court order services. Despite full compliance in the absence of any current safety concerns, our case has remained open, relying on historical matters that had already been resolved. Throughout this process, the court-appointed attorneys assigned to us failed to provide effective advocacy, challenge inaccuracies, or adequately protect our rights. Requests for clarification and assistance were dismissed or ignored. Social workers engaged in conduct that violated our procedural and constitutional rights, including repeated attempts to coerce us into signing non-court ordered documents while implying that refusal could negatively impact our visitations with our children. When formal complaints were submitted, they were not meaningfully reviewed or investigated. Supervisory staff failed to provide independent oversight, instead reiterating the same responses as frontline workers, resulting in no accountability. Inaccurate and misleading statements were documented in our case file. Requests to correct the record or obtain detailed notes were delayed, denied, or ignored, forcing parents to defend themselves against false narratives in court. Parents were discouraged from expressing emotions or advocating passionately for their children, as though parental concerns were treated as a liability. Families are routinely required to complete programs lasting 5 to 6 months. After completion, case resolution is delayed an additional 6 or more, despite new allegations or safety concerns. This pattern reflects unnecessary prolonging of cases and improper use of authority. These practices directly harm children by depriving them of stable, lawful family relationships without justification. Child protection should be guided by current facts, due process, proportionality, and family preservation, not intimidation, retaliation, or procedural delay. I respectfully request that this board conduct a comprehensive and independent review of rights violation and coercive practices, effectiveness and accountability of court-appointed counsel, failures in supervisory oversight, inaccurate or misleading case documentation, unjustified case extensions after full compliance, handling of parent complaints. Parents should not be required to relinquish their right to maintain access to their children. I urge this board to implement meaningful transparency, accountability, and reform within Child and Family Services. Thank you for your time and for allowing this statement to be entered into the public record.
Thank you, Devon, for voicing your concerns. Ms. Pamela Guile, and our last request to speak, Gary Grosich.
Hi, Pam Guile from Bloomington. I just
thought maybe I wanted to enlighten the other board members on the fact that when you're old, you remember things that other people might not remember. But our previous supervisor in Bloomington had brought redevelopment to our town. And in that, we had to form a PAC, an elected group in the community. And the PAC voted redevelopment out. Currently, Cedar Avenue is basically getting backdoor redeveloped by developers, or however you want to look at it. It's our commercial district, and it's being allowed to be industrialized. And our zonings are being allowed to be changed from what our previous, as I mentioned in an earlier thing for AB 98, was our community plan had not ever envisioned for Bloomington. So probably one of the few people in Bloomington that remember redevelopment being, brought in and left, and then just within a year, redevelopment was removed from the state. I'm asking that when Bloomington's issues come up in front of the board, that they don't change our commercial districts. They don't go for the planning to change a commercial district into an industrial district. We've got very limited land there in Bloomington, and Cedar was our primary commercial district. That is what the people have been waiting for, to bring in groceries and restaurants and such, and the developers come in and will lie about it and say they're going to bring a restaurant, but then they bring a fast food. We're getting apartments, we're bringing in a hotel now, but we have no commercial district for these people to eat or venture to, and we would like to keep that revenue in Bloomington. So please, when Bloomington issues do come up, please think of the people of Bloomington and the fact that they are a rural community that needs commercial development, and that Cedar should not be, our land use services shouldn't keep getting changed to fit the developers. Thank you guys very much, and I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year coming up.
Thank you, Ms. Gall, for your comments. Mr. Gary Grosich, and then we had one request, also a request, Renea Lucia.
Oh, and thank you very much for letting me speak after some.
Renea, I'm sorry. Mr. Grosich, and then Renea.
I'm sorry. Good afternoon, board members. Gary Grosich, 47-year resident of Bloomington, former longtime Bloomington MAC member. I wasn't going to speak today, but I wanted to bring a little bit of perspective to the earlier conversation about what goes on in Bloomington and truck routes. And, quite frankly, it's getting really old to hear the false narrative that Bloomington is somehow ground zero for warehouse development. The facts are, in Bloomington, there's been 5 warehouses opened in the last 10 years. 3 of the 5 are currently unoccupied, and one of the others is barely operational with very little truck traffic. All 5 of those were governed by development agreements that was bringing in substantial amounts of money into Bloomington for Bloomington services, including much needed public safety. During this period of time, I came on the MAC in 2014, asked the county for a study to see if we were a winner or loser. We found out quickly that we were a loser. We're being heavily subsidized for the poor services that we received. In 2015, we started to see an influx of illegal, unpermitted truck yards into our community. So we formed an ad hoc committee as a part of the MAC. And at that time, we had 37 identified illegal truck yards. Up to this time, now we have an estimated 200 illegal truck yards. So I would offer to the board that our real issue, our environmental issue, is not the 5 warehouses that have been built that are bringing money, jobs, revenue, and infrastructure improvements into our community. They're the other 200 illegal operations, and large swaths of Bloomington are being purchased 2- and 3-acre parcels routinely by people that are investing in basically illegal activities in our community. They're running their trucks. They have no mitigation measures, no restrictions. They're next to our homes. They're next to our schools. And the board has been very reticent about, and code enforcement about dealing with these issues. The system we have now takes so long to have any impact that these illegal truck yards, they know that. They're literally laughing in the meantime, making 15, 20,000 a month in some cases under the counter, which brings nothing to our community except negative impacts. Going back to the warehouses, there was an article in the Riverside Press Enterprise 2 years ago, and in that article it stated that Yurupa Valley, Fontana, and Rialto have 280 warehouses. Bloomington has a total of 16. So I'd offer to the board that the trucking issues that you're hearing about are not from the designated warehouses that we have developed in the last 10 years, the 5 warehouses that are 3 are unoccupied, but they are being caused by these illegal truck yards. And I would ask the board to take some drastic measures to start looking into dealing with these trucking issues so we can
That's
have
time.
Thank you, Mr. Grosich, for your comments. And our last request to speak is Renee Lucia.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to first say that it seems like one of the things a lot of us have been really concerned about is that there's no transparency from the board and that we don't get enough, that you guys aren't listening to us. I know that you're public servants, you're supposed to represent us, but it doesn't seem like you are. I wanted to go to another thing, and that is the pet overpopulation problem. I've been in rescue for a really long, long time, and I've never seen it this bad. So many animals that are homeless, being killed in the shelter and stuff like that. And I know that you guys said that you would have the free pets at the animal shelter, but if they can't afford to adopt a pet, how are they going to pay for food? How are they going to pay for medical costs and that kind of stuff? So I think you should consider that. Also, we need a low-cost spay and neuter clinic, a community one, because we don't have a good one. The only one there is Palm Mission or Animal Action League, and Animal Action League spends most of their time in Riverside, and the Palm Mission is always backed up. My other concern, and I'm very disappointed that Councilperson Rowe didn't listen to any of the people from Joshua Tree, but Joshua Tree has become an off-road mecca. Every day there's off-road vehicles going in front of my house, up and down. You can't go out on a horse. You can't take your dog for a walk. You can hardly drive because these kids just come right in front of you, cut you off. They make donuts in the road so that all the dirt roads are very difficult to drive on. It's just totally insane. And you call the sheriff, and the sheriff is more than happy to come out and say, if we catch them, we'll do something. Well, how's a cruiser going to catch a motorcycle? They're not going to. So what we need are signs that say it's illegal to ride illegally in all the desert. We also need sheriff's officers that are just for this problem, since it's getting so big. They have plenty of places where where it's designated that they can ride. They don't need to ride in our neighborhoods. And the other problem is that a lot of these riders aren't even licensed. They're just kids that the parents say, go play, and they're just out doing whatever they want. And it's not only dangerous for the kids, it's dangerous for anyone else that's out there. There was just a lady that said she was out walking her dogs, and some dirt bike came out from the bushes and scared the heck out of the dogs and her and almost hit her. I've been out there trying to ride a horse. You can't ride a horse.
Thank you, Ms. Lucia, for your comments. This concludes our general public comments. This meeting is now adjourned. Our next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Supervisors will take place Tuesday, January 13th at 10 a.m. back in our regular board chambers. I want to wish everyone a happy holiday. Thank you all for attending and hanging in there.